trustee right here in Edmonton. I can help you become debt-free with a solution just for you. Let's put an end to those calls from creditors together. Call 1-833-BDO-TALK or visit bdodebt.ca to discover your debt-free future.
Whoa, I gotta put some money on the game tonight. We hit our monthly budget. Whoa, how did you get in here? I'm you, the responsible you. We're right. We'll play another time. Sounds more like us.
Together, use for game sense. Visit GameSense.ca.
So, this is First impressions matter, but when hair loss takes over, it can feel like you're not being seen for the maverick you truly are. Hi, I'm Dr. Ben. Let's discuss all the cutting-edge options available, so you can make a great impression every time. Book a free consultation.
Jordan Pennington is done again. Diablo Boots sells only Canadian-made work and biker boots made by China West. No American or boots made in China, so no tariffs. All of Diablo's boots have replaceable soles and heels for longer life. Sizes 6 to 14 Triple E. Buy quality, buy Canadian, and support Canada West and Diablo, the two best names in the boot business. So save on boots by Save On Foods. That's Diablo Boots, 3340 Gateway Boulevard on the east side of Save On Foods. Buy Canadian. They're terrific.
The Jason Gregor Show.
Connor McDavid wins it for Canada. And Jordan Pennington has done it again inside.
On Sports 1440.
Teams in there for an offensive rebound. The Dallas a deflection. Jalen Green was wanting to do bad things on that trip to the basket. Turning around, and then Clark does bad things when he takes it inside.
Presented by PlayAlberta.ca, Alberta's only regulated online gambling website.
It's a high drive off to the back of Cook, sailing back there to center. Double digits for the Jays in game one. From Toronto.
Oh, baby, welcome to the Jason Gregor Show on Sports 1440, sports1440.ca, YouTube, Facebook, X, Instagram, Twitch. Thanks for listening. Thanks for watching the show. Or if you're just going to watch or listen later on, very much appreciate it. So I look at what's going on right now. If you're a curling fan, oh, baby, a little extra end action for the men. And Germany, Canada was up 6-4 going into the 10th. Germany took 2 with the last rock. They had to measure it by the slimmest of margins. Germany got scored 2, so now we're in the extra end. And, man, Canada, a few rocks ago, looked like they were great. Now, suddenly, Germany's got in a good spot. So we'll update you when that game is over. We also have, of course, the first game of the men's hockey tournament went on today. And Slovakia with the big win, 4-1. Juraj Slafkovsky having himself a pretty good afternoon. 2 goals and an assist for Slovakia. Now, is the loss devastating for Finland? No, because if you don't know, everybody's going to make the playoff round. It just, Finland's going to be in a little bit more of a challenge potentially, depending on how the rest of their next 2 games go, and Slovakia, that they'll be a little bit lower in the standings, right? That's basically how it's going to work. But Slafkovsky was great. Samuel Lavja, the Iowa goalie in the AHL, stood on his head, baby, and that's what, in a 1-gamer, anything can happen. Right, if Finland plays like that in a 7-game series against Slovakia, they probably win more than they lose. But they lost today. And give Slovakia credit. Slafkovsky made some huge plays when needed. Their goaltender stood on his head, and they win the game. And we have the second game going on, which, of course, has Sweden taking on Italy. And no surprise, really. It was a pretty dominant first. Like, the Italians are, hey, they're obviously going to be the 12 seed when this is said and done, and they'll probably, they'll lose all 4 of their games. They're not that competitive. They got outshot in the first period, 27-3. 27-3. But it was only 2-1. So the Italians, they don't get a lot of shots, but when they do, they score. So that part, of course, is good. Italy actually led 1-0. I don't know, Cons, if you're watching the game or not, but when Italy scored to go up 1-0, the place went, but as it should, they went bananas. It might be the only lead they have in the whole tournament, but for that moment, it was unreal.
Yeah, I mean, I was just surprised that they scored a goal. To hear that, the way Sweden was peppering them, I thought, yeah, geez, we could have a 3-0 game here for Italy to score a goal. Pretty outstanding and awesome for them. Home game. That's just kind of gives you the goosebumps, even if it didn't last that long.
No. But it was fun, right? Like, I don't think anybody was expecting, Italy to pull off an upset. Yes, it would be nice. Come on, but let's be real here. I do have to ask you, here we are now, the Olympic competition, I guess, really, started for some medals on Saturday. So it's Saturday, Sunday. We're into Wednesday. We don't have a gold medal yet, and we only have 3 medals. And we've had a few people, due to injuries and what have you. You concerned at all about the start to the Olympics for Canada?
Not really. I mean, I think Mikhail Kingsbury tomorrow. Obviously, a good chance for him in the moguls. Ideally, we get a couple here with curling. The hockey teams, I think, probably pretty good spot to get it going here. Out on the, speed skating, I think that's one where you have to hope we can get a couple here. Obviously, a pretty good start with the short track yesterday, but I guess ideally you're in a better situation. But I don't panic yet. I feel like this is kind of seems to be a thing every couple of years here that people get a little worried, and then towards the end we start to bring it home.
And for curling, hey, it's there's like 4 teams, and I think anybody can almost beat anybody. We had Mark Kennedy on before they left, and they're definitely going to be one of the top 4 teams. Germany is very competitive today on the men's side against them, so definitely no guarantee. And I'm excited to see the Canadian men. Now, this will be the 4th time when there's NHL players that Canada and Czechia have battled one another. And the first 3 games, Czechia won in 1998. Most of you remember that one. Semifinal win, 2-1. Hasek was unreal. They won in a shootout. In 2002, they actually played to a tie, 3-3. And then the third meeting, Canada won 3-2. So literally 1-1-1. So tomorrow, Canada is definitely the favorite. No doubt about it. Now, how much of a favorite? Quite a bit. Quite a bit of a favorite. If you look up and down the lineups of these teams, and it on paper, it's not close. Now, Slovakia and Finland. Finland was the favorite, no question. And so that's an upset. Could Canada lose? Yeah. Because to me, Canada can lose for one main reason. Vejmelka. He's been pretty good for Utah. He's tied for the most wins in the regular season. Right? He's been pretty solid. So that to me is the one where I look and say, okay, can they that's what you got to be leery of. But you look at their lines, and they did switch up the lines in practice. You switch McKinnon and Horvat. McKinnon is now with Reinhart and Hagel. Horvat's with Suzuki and Marchand. They're kind of like the 4th line. So you have McDavid, Wilson, Celebrini, McKinnon, Reinhart, Hagel, Crosby, Stone, and Marner, Horvat, Suzuki, and Marchand. Like, there's really not a 4th line in skill by any stretch of the imagination, right? Like, Nick Suzuki's 65 points in the regular season are the 4th most amongst Canadians on the team. McDavid, McKinnon, Celebrini, and then Suzuki. The back end, Taves, Makar, Parayko, Morrissey. It looks like it's Doughty and Harley. Now, who's going to be the number 7 defenseman and the 13th forward, because you're allowed to dress that many? So one of Bennett or Jarvis. I'm just gonna go and guess Bennett because he was named as a replacement before Seth Jarvis, and then Shea Theodore or Travis Sanheim. My gut is gonna say that it's Shea Theodore. I'm not sure it's necessarily going to matter that much, but because I'm not sure he's going to play a whole lot in the game. But that's what I would guess would be the extras in this tournament. And then Vejmelka, because you look like David Pastrnak. If I went down the roster of Czechia, David Pastrnak a lock, he'd play in Team Canada. After that, like with Tomas Hertl, he's not going to be better than McDavid, McKinnon, or Crosby. And I'm not sold he's better than Horvat at this point. Right? And then even Marty Necas. Like would Necas, would he like Mark Scheifele didn't make the team. Would Necas make Team Canada? He'd be in the conversation, but it's definitely not a lock, is what I'm saying there. So none of their defensemen would make it. Goaltending, Vejmelka and Dostal, they probably were the other two that would have had a chance. But obviously Team Canada's picking Binnington. Would they have went ahead of Thompson or Kemper? I don't know, maybe. But that's really about it. So Canada is definitely the better team on paper. We will find out tomorrow. You're less than 24 hours. Game time, of course, 8:40 tomorrow. All right. You want to put that Sweden-Italy game on TV? I think the Italians might have. Do they have 2 goals on 4 shots in this game? I think they do. That's that is a wow. Hey, you know what, man? That's being effective. You don't get a lot of shots. It's not how many shots you have. It's how many goals you have. And so that's wild. Absolutely wild stuff. So could you imagine somehow? Now, the Swedes are going to win the game. I don't have much concern about that, to be honest, but we'll see. 833-401-1440, 833-401-1440. You can always text us, give us your thoughts on the Olympics, a few other things going on in the sport, the Edmonton Elks today, and we'll get Declan here on the mic in a sec, so once he gets his set up. But the Elks unveiled their free agents today. Now, none of these were surprises, right? We knew that these guys were getting signed: Malik Carney, Joe Robustelli, Taylor Powell, Brennan Bordner, Coulter Woodmansey, and Jordan Murray. Those were the main additions. And Deck, I know you went down there. Did anything catch your eye or your ear?
Yeah, I mean, Ed and Mark were pretty generic, and they were pretty politically correct, for lack of a better phrase, about everything and just about the direction of the team. And, now the team is better and we want guys who are going to work hard, and, we'll figure out where guys fit when camp comes around, things like that. But as far as talking to the players in general, like everyone had a really, really positive look about Edmonton. Like I think there may have been kind of a feeling in Edmonton for the past couple of years with how much they were losing is like Edmonton is a place I end up just because I have to, as opposed to because I want to. And Malik Carney, he was probably one of the most giddy. And that's a position, like the edge rusher positions on this Elks team. You got Barlow, Smith, Noah Curtis, Noah Taylor. And Malik comes in knowing all of that, and he couldn't be happier to be here. He couldn't be happier to come contribute. Austin Mack coming in and being able to play alongside Cody. He exactly the same thing. I asked him how much of it was Cody, how much went into his decision, and he said it's a huge percentage of it. Brendan and Jordan, knowing maybe some of the struggles Martez Ivy had this year, being, knowing they'll be able to compete for that left tackle spot. It was an overwhelming sense of I'm happy to be here. This franchise is building something, as opposed to maybe prior years where it was just I'll go to Edmonton because I don't have any other options. And I thought that was a really, really good takeaway from today at the media scrum.
What do you think? Like I'd mentioned it earlier. I think Ivy's like I'll be stunned if he's here. I mean, maybe he comes and he's just there's too many people battling for a job now.
Yeah, I asked I asked Ed directly. I said, with Brandon and Jordan coming in, what's the future for Martez? And he said, we'll figure that out at day's end. And Ed, as you know, and I think as a lot of people know, he's a guy who gives very GM answers, and it's very kind of by the book, and it's very, I don't want to say he dances around things, but it's the correct answer. It's, it's the media trained answer. And then it comes to questions about Niles Morgan going into the offseason, or this time about Martez, and it's a little bit more cut and dry. And to me, that answer says everything. I think you're totally right. I think Martez Ivy will probably be gone. Jordan and Brendan are going to be the two ones competing for that left tackle spot. It's funny because Brendan Bordner, his best year was 2014, and he was second team all CFL.
2024, you mean?
2024, yeah, by 3 Down Nations estimations. Martez Ivy was first team all CFL that year as well. Then he was obviously the West All-Star as well that year, but just an underwhelming 25. I think the writing's probably on the wall. We expected really big things from Martez Ivy. We didn't get it. And we got two guys who are really excited to be here, really happy to be here, and know the value of going out and competing for that left tackle spot.
Yeah, it'll it's going to be interesting to see. It's funny. They've taken away one of Italy's shots on goal at some point in the game. So now Italy is credited with 2 goals on 3 shots. And they're getting close to the midway point of that game. So that is that's a wild stat, man. A wild stat. 2 goals on 3 shots. Hey, it happens. It happens. I know you're all writing out the text because many of you coming in. Hey, Skinner in net for us. Hey, it's not the only goalie sometimes who, and it's not always the goalie's fault when just because you give up 2 breakaways or you give up 2 one-timers with no chance. Now, I'm sure Gustafsson might have want one of those back. I would think so. We'll see. The Italians. This is for the start of the tournament. Now, it's early on. You're not even a game and a half in yet, but Slovakia upset. If Italy could even get to the 3rd period tied, that would be like a win for them because their fans are going to go, imagine the 2nd period intermission. They're just like, oh, my God, we're in the game. This is unbelievable. They all know that they probably shouldn't be winning. Just right now, Sweden can't score. That's their biggest problem. They can't score. So we'll see where it goes from here. Coming up on the show today, Landon Ferraro is going to join us. We'll talk a little hoops with Paul Sir. We got Yaremchuk, Ritch Winter today, the business of sport. You might not want to miss this one. Now we're going to talk a little Calvin Pickard for Oilers fans and a few other things NHL wise that I think will interest some people. But it'll be an interesting look to chat about to Rich with Calvin Pickard and just kind of take us through the whole thing. Guy who was playing lots and then obviously not playing. And, what do you do? How does it work? He's been placed on waivers. No one claimed him. He doesn't officially have to report to the American League until the 18th, I think, of February, which is a week today. Might be the 17th, actually, now they say that. I have to double check which day it is, but there you go. Also, we talked about it. There was that little melee between Detroit and Charlotte. Isaiah Stewart got suspended 7 games for leaving the bench. Miles Bridges and Musa Diabate were suspended 4 games for fighting and escalating the altercation. And Jalen Duran was suspended 2 games for initiating the altercation and fighting. So 7 games, 4 games, 4 games, and 2 games. So a total of 17 games and suspensions handed out, each for 2 from each team in that Pistons and Hornets game. Now, Cons was I got to look, but didn't the we'll see kind of where that was. 7 gamer for him. So they I'm trying to look at the here we are. They're playing the Hornets play tonight, so their guys obviously aren't going to play. And the Raptors and the Pistons, obviously. So the Raptors get a little bit of an advantage tonight, Cons.
Yeah, and I think you had a good point there yesterday with Stewart. not jumping in and sucker punching anyone. I
Mhm.
think that probably led to the lower number than we had expected.
Yeah.
He could have very easily, but I think that was a good point you brought up yesterday. And absolutely, a really good time for the Toronto Raptors.
Yeah, that is good timing. We'll take a quick break. We'll return. Ferraro joins us next. We'll talk a little Canada, of course, because by the next time we're on, the game will be over. So we'll have a little preview Canada and Czechia, some new line combinations. Binnington, we think, is going to start. Not 100% sure, but I think we would all be surprised if he didn't start. So we'll get to that and more on the Gregor Show, presented by PlayAlberta.ca.
Roses are red, violets are blue. A pizza my heart will certainly do. Nothing says I love you quite like a Papa John's pizza. This Valentine's week, enjoy a special Pizza My Heart thin crust pizza from Papa John's for only $17.99. Check it out at papajohns.ca or on the Papa John's app. We don't want to break your heart, so the pizza arrives uncut. Available for a limited time only. Better ingredients, better pizza. Papa John's.
Hey, Edmonton, did you know a local Play Alberta winner scored over $500,000 on Mega Jackpots Ocean Bells? Think about the season tickets you could lock down with that kind of cash. From major casino winners every hour to jackpots worth millions and hundreds of popular games to money that stays in the province, there's never been a better time to sign up for Play Alberta. Download the app today to get started with casino, sports, and lottery all in one app. Must be 18 plus to play. When you gamble, use your game sense.
And now Action Electrical's testing team is on defense duty. They're the guardians of safety and compliance, a critical part of any lineup.
Precisely. They perform rigorous safety and code compliance testing for commercial operations. Think of them as ensuring everything is up to standard before disaster strikes.
Their preventative plays are legendary, spotting faults early. Hire the Action Electrical team to bring home a win for your project. Visit actionelectrical.net.
They're not just a grocery store. They're a butcher, a baker, a cafe, deli, rotisserie pizza, and restaurant, all under one roof. Loca Quality Market does food differently with 2 locations to serve you. Edmonton and Sherwood Park. Visit loca.ca.
Need a new ride for road trips, errands, or just life on the go? Go Auto offers a massive selection with over 15,000 new and used vehicles to choose from. With over 70 locations across Western Canada, finding your next ride has never been easier. Whether it's a roomy SUV for the family, a sleek car for the open road, or a rugged truck for your weekend adventures, you'll find it here at a price you'll love. Explore thousands of vehicles today at goauto.ca.
The job isn't done until the last load is hauled, and having a semi-trailer out of commission is not an option. Whether replacing or adding to your convoy, Edmonton Trailer has a huge inventory of new and used semi-trailers, trusted by the gravel, logging, oil field, fluids, and freight industries. Find a trailer right for you online or at one of their 3 locations. For sales, service, parts, rental, and finance, when you're in it for the long haul, Edmonton Trailer.
Do you work for a company that wants to reach people who love sports? Or maybe you're looking to hire people who love sports. Sports 1440 partners with dozens of local businesses, connecting with tens of thousands of Edmonton sports fans every day. On the radio, on the listening apps, on YouTube, and on social media. Contact our sales team today to see what Sports 1440 can do for you. Email Gregor at sports1440.ca to get started.
What's some non-Nissan drivers here?
Nightmarish flurries out of the Northwest today, looking like a horror movie.
What Nissan drivers here?
It's a glorious day out there.
Don't fear the forecast. Get a Nissan Kicks-S all-wheel drive for $398 monthly at 2.9% with $0 down. Built, tested, and trusted to conquer Canada's harsh winters. Visit your local Nissan dealer today or nissan.ca for details. 60 months, conditions apply.
Visit your local Edmonton and area Nissan dealer for more information.
Cantork has turned 25. That's right, 25 years of building tools so good, they practically torque themselves. Hard work and innovation equals problem solved. See our latest designs at cantork.com.
Portions of this hour brought to you by eWell. Get your power play amped up with eWell, supplying the City of Champions in Alberta with quality electrical gear since 1975. eWell.ca is your partner in power.
The Jason Gregor Show, the best of Edmonton sports talk and beyond. This is Sports 1440.
Presented by PlayAlberta.ca, Alberta's only regulated online gambling website.
.223, welcome back. Jason Gregor, Connor Halley, Declan Kruger with you, Sports 1440, sports1440.ca, YouTube, Facebook, X, Instagram. Hope you are having a lovely Wednesday. As tomorrow, of course, the men will get going against Czechia in hockey. Mark Kennedy's team needed extra ends, but they defeat Germany earlier today. Meanwhile, the Canadian women getting set to take on Finland. We had the first men's game, and it was an upset. Not a major upset, but an upset. Slovakia over Finland, 4-1. And now you have Italy and Sweden. They're in the second period tied at 2. And the Italians are going with the strategy that less is more. The game's tied 2-2. The shots are 33-5. As they're in the later stages of the second period. So, Gabriel Landeskog and Gustav Forsling have scored for Sweden. Meanwhile, Luca Frigo and Matthew Bradley have scored for the Italians. The Italians scored like 37 seconds into the second period, and now it's late. Man, if they could stay tied going into the third period, man, that intermission would be unreal. People in the building be going crazy. Like the building went absolutely bananas when they scored the opening goal of the game. Like absolutely, it's like they won the. And I get it, right? Like hockey's not their main sport in Italy. This is, they're just there, they're competing, they're having fun. But obviously, this is, hey man, they're in there. You're going to give it your all. That would be a wild game if it ends that way. Let's talk some more hockey as we go in the room. Brought to you by Action Electrical, the most diversified electrical contractors in the province, as they have 4 divisions: project, service, testing, and solar. Anything to help you get going. 53 years of experience. ActionElectrical.net. As Landon Ferraro, we changed things up a little bit. He joins us today. Landon, how you doing, Matt?
I'm doing pretty good. How are you doing?
I'm doing well. Let's get to that early game. And like I was talking with one of my buddies even last week because they were asking me about Montreal. Hey, yeah, Montreal's good. They got a lot of young guys. I'm like, yeah, they got a lot of young guys. I said, but the one guy who I think has the potential to be the best just because of his size and strength is Slafkovsky. And I really like Suzuki. And obviously Cole Caulfield's a better scorer today. But man, I look at Slafkovsky and just all the size and skill that he has. I say, man, this guy could be a real threat, just as he starts to fill out and learns how to move that big frame all over the ice.
Yeah, when he's the guy, and he is when he's with his national team, he really elevates. And it's not an uncommon thing that especially a European has that kind of effect on his play. Like, when it comes to the Olympics, definitely, the Canadians are all in and all of that. But even, the World Championships, it's one that guys pass over sometimes and all of that. But for the European guys, like, it's an automatic yes. They love to play for their country at every opportunity. And, Slafkovsky was the MVP at the last Olympics that I was at in 22. And, at that point, he was just a man-child, right? Like, he still had braces. He's got the full cage, but he was massive. And you could see his release and how he protected the puck against grown men already. It was unbelievable to watch. But, he has more to his game. Caulfield's always going to be a better pure scorer. Like, that's what he is. But, his first goal in the morning game today, that was an unbelievable turnover, but like that power move and the size that he has to be able to reach around the goaltender and put it in, like those are those are where he's going to keep getting better and keep being that power forward. But, he was phenomenal today.
Oh, buddy, big man. Hey, what about their goaltender, man? You're sitting there in the AHL and you have that's why in one games, anything can happen. And man, he stood on his head for one day today.
Yeah, he was the reason that they were able to hold on. And, for a lot of that game, it was, pretty 50-50. But then, when each team would have their kind of push, the Slovakian team, their push would be decent, but when Finland's would go, you just didn't understand how they couldn't get it in. But the kid was really good in net. I mean, he's kind of getting upstaged now by Clara for the Italians. He's almost at 40 saves already, just over halfway through the game. So he's putting on a heck of a performance. They're tied 2-2 right now. But, the kid this morning, you could see, again, it's the Olympics. They're playing against all the guys that they watch and know are the best in the world, yet you just beat them.
Yeah, well, you did. And so, you know what? Good for Slovakia. You know what? Now, the way the tournament sets up, this loss isn't crushing for Finland, right? For people who don't know, the top 4 teams will get a bye, and then 5 to 12 will play in the playoffs. Kind of like, if we want to call it, kind of like the round of 16, even though I know there's only 8 teams there, because then you get to the quarter
action.
Yeah, then you get to the quarterfinals, semifinals, and the finals. But it's not devastating, but I didn't think UC Saros was great in goal today.
No, he wasn't. I would say Slafkovsky's second goal, the one on the power play, Johnson on the call thought he should have had that one. I feel like as the PK guy, if you're going to come in and flash into that lane last second, you have to make the block. Because if not, you just got to stay out of the way and make sure a puck doesn't go through the seam and you leave that shot to your goaltender. Because, Slafkovsky's release and how heavy that shot was, Saros can't see the release. It's impossible to save. But on a couple of the other ones, it's not what you're looking for if you're Finland. And as much as this isn't, the end of their tournament by any means, it does start to put more pressure on the rest of the games. That wasn't a game that you were expecting one to lose, but also to give up a few goals in the goal differential either.
No. Well, and it's super early. The game's, we're still in the second period, but the Italians, they're up to 10 shots. The game, it's 2-2, and they've got some belief, right? Sweden's obviously peppering them a ton, but this wouldn't be the first time if a team wins a game with their goalie making 40+ shots. It's funny, in the NHL regular season, usually when a goalie faces 40 shots, their chances of winning, the team whose goalie's facing the 40 shots, is actually, there's more wins than losses in those games. It's kind of a weird thing. It's like the goalie just gets in a rhythm, gets in a groove, and maybe the shooters are starting to press, and they're like, oh my God, and they're probably in the back of their mind, how are we not scoring on this guy? Right? But that'll be a storyline to watch. I just hope it goes to the third tied. It would just be a fun story.
Oh, for sure. And that's the best part of tournament hockey like this, when you have teams that are, at very different ends of skill level. Yet going into a game that no one expects you not only not to win, but it shouldn't even be close. Every minute that this game goes along, the Italians feel better and better about themselves. And all of a sudden, in the back of their mind, they're we're in it, and there's only half the game left. Can we squeak this out? That belief starts to kick in on top of, again, even if you end up losing, again, everyone's just saying you've played a great game. It's a great result. So it's a dangerous place to be when you're, in this case, Sweden, where you're expected to win. It shouldn't be this hard. And, and you're starting to press, like you said, all of a sudden, mistakes start to happen. You make a bad pinch, and all of a sudden, the Italians get another scoring chance.
Yeah, it is. It's kind of crazy. It makes it fun. Let's get to Team Canada. Of course, we'll take on Czechia tomorrow. Canada, pretty heavy favorite in that game. And I look at it like, other than David Pastrnak, and I'm not even sure Marty Necas would be a lock to make Team Canada. Maybe one of their goalies, but Canada's got way more skill than Czechia. And, listen to the players, like, this is for outside of Drew Doughty and Crosby. This is the Olympic debut for every player. And, for lots, like, this generation of player grew up dreaming about playing the Olympics, right? When Sidney Crosby was 10 years old, that was when NHL players came to the Olympics in 1998. And, so he's a 10-year-old, he's obviously was diehard wrapped into hockey. So that's probably when the dream's like, oh my God, I want to play in the Olympics. And ever since then, right? Like you look at Connor McDavid, when his two teammates, Crosby and Doughty, won in 2010, McDavid was 13. So he's been thinking about it. Like, I'd be surprised. And I know the Czech guys will be fired up too, but I don't know. I think Canada's going to come out gangbusters. There's just something about finally reaching that peak of getting there. And I'm not going to say there'll be like, the excitement of a rookie in the NHL, but it might be close.
Yeah. I mean, it's already a tall task when you're playing, a Team Canada. But like you just pointed out, like, this is a different situation. You have guys that have been, chomping at the bit to be able to have this opportunity for, some guys a few years, some guys over a decade, right? So there's no way that those guys aren't coming out, especially after the Four Nations last year. Like, they got a bit of the taste, but it's a completely different thing when you're stepping on the ice or you're sitting on the bench and you look across, because there's no ads on the boards, right? Except the Olympic rings. And seeing that, like, it just elevates everything in your, it's like watching the World Juniors, right? Like, there's always a difference between World Juniors and Olympics because it's kids and it's the first time putting on the Canada jersey in a big event and they just go crazy out there.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it's going to be that. Is what I think, right? Like, it's the same feeling for a lot of these guys. It's been over a decade, or some of them, it's been over a decade since they've had that moment at World Juniors. They've been waiting for this. So it's exciting. And I expect them to come out rather aggressive and, much like the World Juniors, you just hope in the first 5 minutes that their emotions can stay in check a bit and they don't, take a massive run at someone and put themselves down early.
Speaking of running, Tom Wilson, lots of people like, oh, I'm not sure. And it's funny because we've had texters, guys, like, everybody's talking about the rink. I haven't really noticed the difference. I'm like, well, yeah, it's 3 feet shorter. Like, Utah's rink was basically the same dimensions last year. So, like, 3 feet isn't that massive of a difference anyway. But what do you make of Wilson? And, like, I don't think it's going to be much of an issue for him to play, for Canada to play a robust style. Do you?
No, not at all. Like, I've played on essentially this exact dimension ice when I went and played in a tournament in Russia. And, like, yeah, it's weird the first time you get out there because it feels like you take 3 steps and you're through the neutral zone. But past that, it's the game. It doesn't feel any different. You don't really, it's not like it's a thing that you're noticing and thinking about throughout the game. Like, again, you notice it at the beginning and that's the end of it. So for Wilson, I don't see any issue with his style of play or anything. Like, he gets around the ice really well. It's, to me, it just surprised me a bit, especially as I've thought about it more, that they had Wilson up on that line. It's just another instance of looking at it. You're like, well, if that was going to be the case, like, how did you not just bring Hyman when you had the chance and just have a guaranteed connection there? I know it's a mute point at this right now, and Wilson's a great player, and who knows, like, it might work out perfect, but it's a question mark that you didn't need to have.
Yeah, no, that's fair. That is valid. They switched some of the lines from their practicing 2 days ago, which is not a shock because I think things are going to change as we go. But, you had McKinnon. He now has Hagel and Reinhardt as his wingers. and Suzuki and Marchand are with Bo Horvat. What do you make of that?
I mean, I like it. I mean, it's so hard at the start of a tournament like this, right? Like, you start looking at them, and for every line in almost any combination, you can make an argument of why that should work. But, looking at it, they have, kind of similar types of guys with similar players and the way that they like to play. And, with Hagel, McKinnon, Reinhart, like, it's very direct style. Like, they're not making to look the flashy or make the flashiest plays. Like, they're direct, they're hard, they play the game aggressive. Reinhart a little bit less than McKinnon and Hagel, but like, they're attackers. So like, that makes sense. The Horvat, Marchand, and Suzuki, as much as, they'll be able to score, that is a really reliable line defensively and can provide you with some really solid minutes. Like, to me, the lines, they look solid to start, but I'm definitely with you. Unless things go perfect from the beginning, like, we're going to see players kind of bounce around here for the first few games for sure.
I would think so. What about the seventh defenseman? If we go on the lines, Doughty and Harley look like they're the third pair. So there's Sanheim and Shea Theodore. Is it like, it's got to be Shea Theodore, isn't it?
I would assume so. I don't really know how you would go the other way off like a first, your first opinion or your first choice. But yeah, I would imagine that Theodore's there, and just having a guy that skates like that and has played in big games as well, like, it's it makes sense.
Yeah, for sure. To me, it makes a lot of it. Lastly, Landon, I wrote an article about the Oilers' depth, and I compared it to all the other 8 teams that have at least 60 points in the Western Conference. And, I was looking at, minutes played, because there's lots of talk about the Oilers' depth guys. They don't play enough, and that's limited. And I even compared power play goals for other teams' depth guys and such. And when it came down to it, Edmonton's just had a lot of depth guys, very similar minutes as other depth guys around the league in those teams, and they're not coming close to producing. Right? Like Ross Johnston, for goodness sakes, in Anaheim's playing less than 10 minutes a night. He has 13 points. Now, I know that, he had a few games where he had 3 points. I don't care. Everybody can have a chance to have a big game. He still has contributed 13 points. That's more than Mangiapane. It's more than Frederick. It's more than Henrique. It's more than Lazar. It's more than Janmark. Like, to me, I get that you'd like guys to play a little bit more, but I went around. It's not like your fourth line on any team is playing that many more minutes than what Edmonton's guys are. And even their third line. So I just look at, they got to produce more. So, do you think they're capable of having a better final 24? Or do you think they're going to have to mix up who they play in their bottom 6?
Well, I mean, that's always been the discussion. And, the thought of, they need to play more. Like, I don't see that either. Like, to me, it's in a long form, like, I'm agreeing with you, because I feel like my argument for playing McDavid and Draisaitl less, so that they can have a bit more juice when it comes playoff time. But the only way that happens is if other guys produce.
Yes.
Like, and there is opportunity there. Like, Mangiapane, like, he's had countless numbers of grade A chances, and same with the other bottom 6 guys. Like, they create chances. It's just the finishing. They haven't been able to do that. And then, for a year and a half now, I've been on the show with Walks doing pre and post, and I keep saying that. And his argument is that they show up, the secondary scoring shows up in playoffs. And I just, like, that's my axe to grind with the Oilers. Like, every year, it's the same thing of, well, they show up later. Well, you can't just rely on that all the time, especially with the secondary scoring. They need to find a way to produce a bit to lighten the load for the big guys, not even just physically, but mentally. Like, to be able to give McDavid and Draisaitl like a night off mentally would go so far. But whether it's with a couple trades or or whatever needs to happen, because with the same guys, it's going to be the same results unless it just clicks all of a sudden like it did in the last 2 playoffs.
Yeah. Well, you know, you're going to need some guys to pick it up. And like Adam Henrique, this is like some of the worst production he's ever had. You know, Trent Frederick, same thing. So, you know, I'd like to think they could be better, but then they got to be better. And I'll just say, like, Szymanski came in and he produced more in, now, very small sample size, but he found ways to do it. So to me, I just think they just got to do it at the end of the day. Like, you can't beg for way more opportunities. You got to play well in the minutes you're given, and then if you play well there, then you get more minutes. That's usually how it works.
It's a pretty simple formula. Like, you know, the coach isn't trying to find, like, Knobloch isn't spending his entire Olympic break trying to figure out ways not to play his bottom 6. Like, he would love to be able to roll his lines and certain games be able to double shift the bottom 6 because they're up 3 goals. But that hasn't been the case. Like, no coach is looking to actively bury players. He only has so many. He wants all of them to be as good as they possibly can. It only makes his job easier.
Yeah, it's very well said, man. Very well said. Landon, good stuff, buddy. Enjoy the Olympics. Appreciate it.
Yeah, well, just one last one. Talking of Oilers' depth, it would be real tough if David Tomashik threw up a couple tomorrow on the Canadiens, wouldn't it?
Yeah, it's true. Awesome. Thanks, man.
Have a good one.
There you go. That's Landon Ferraro. We'll take a quick break. We'll return. It's a Gregor Show presented by PlayAlberta.ca.
And that's another goal for Canada.
You know what would be even better than winning gold?
Okay, I'll bite.
Winning a gold medal made of Wilhock beef jerky.
Athletes do get hungry, and they could use a snack on the podium. I think I'll start a petition.
Really?
No. Now pass the Wilhock and turn up the games.
For a truly Canadian snack to cheer on our truly Canadian athletes, you need Wilhock beef jerky, made with Alberta pride right here in Leduc.
Hi, Mike here from Northgate Chevrolet Buick GMC. Free trips, free iPads, a barbecue, a wood stove, the #1 dealer in the world. What? Who cares? How about no pressure, a great deal, finance rates as low as 0%, trade values you can be happy with, and an indoor showroom. And we're pretty good people. Stop in and see us today, 13215 97th Street, or visit us online at northgategm.com.
Performance by Action Electrical today. Their projects team kicked things off, designing and building with unmatched skill.
Then the service team swoops in for those crucial repairs and maintenance. And don't forget the testing team, ensuring everything's safe and sound before the solar team scores with sustainable energy.
A complete team effort. Have Action Electrical bring home a win for you and your project. Visit actionelectrical.net.
Hot coffee, hotter takes, and the sports stories that matter. Check out Kevin Carrion weekday mornings from 7 to 11 on Edmonton's sports leader, Sports 1440. Be part of the conversation. 833-401-1440.
Zoinks! It's like a totally Great Dane Family Day Oil Kings game.
Monday afternoon, Edmonton looks to foil the schemes of the Lethbridge Hurricanes because it's Scooby-Doo Family Day at Rogers Place.
Your Oil Kings suit up in specialty jerseys right out of the mystery machine. They'll be auctioned and raffled off in support of the Edmonton Oil Kings Education Association.
And Calmont Kids food combos are just $10 or less. Jinkies, that's better value than a box of Scooby snacks.
Oil Kings Scooby-Doo Family Day game, Monday at 2.
Great seats at Rogers Place start at only $20 at oilkings.ca.
McValue breakfast meals are $5 plus tax every day. Get a sausage McMuffin, bagel with cream cheese product, or breakfast burrito with hash brown and small coffee, all for just $5 plus taxes. Available until 11 a.m. at Canadian restaurants. Product availability varies. Prices exclude delivery.
Get ready to love your home, Canada. The Brick has the styles and the savings to make you fall head over heels. Save $1,100 on couches made for cuddling. Enjoy a romantic meal and a dining set up to 25% off. And yes, save 25% off in the bedroom, too. Plus, score up to $1,500 off the TV of your dreams. Love is in the air, and so are the savings. Only at The Brick. Some exclusions apply. Check out The Brick in South Common, West Ed Mall, Northside, and downtown.
Portions of this hour brought to you by Sherbrooke Liquor, the best place for wine, cocktails, and beers from all over the world. Also a variety of excellent non-alcoholic options. See more at SherbrookeLiquor.com.
The Jason Gregor Show, the best of Edmonton sports talk and beyond. This is Sports 1440.
Presented by PlayAlberta.ca, Alberta's only regulated online gambling website.
$2:45. Welcome back. Sports 1440, sports1440.ca, YouTube, Facebook, X, and Instagram. I love that quote from Ferraro. Hey, man, Knobloch isn't spending his time off finding ways to not play his bottom six. You're not looking to actively bury players. He only has so many. He wants them to have success. And he spoke like a guy who was a bottom six player. It's a pretty easy formula. You got to produce. And if you produce, then maybe you get a little bit more minutes. But no sane coach is like, oh, you know what? Let's give the bottom guys who aren't producing more minutes and take away the guys who are producing. It's not realistic. And when I looked at all the numbers of the time on ice from the Oilers compared to other teams, they're not getting. It's not like Edmonton is relying heavily. Yeah, Edmonton's top guys play, but Colorado's top 5. They got 5 guys playing 18 or more minutes, and McKinnon's right there with McDavid, and their depth guys are scoring. Right. They're producing. You got to look at Parker Kelly's numbers. Guy's got 11 goals, playing 11 and a half minutes. He's not getting power play time. He's not getting a ton of, 5-on-5 time with McKinnon. He's finding ways to do it. So, you know what? You got some guys in a funk. And, hey, he tried different things. Trent Frederick, hey, you know what? I want to play center. Well, he played center. That's where he scored his first goal of the season in Game 4. So no one can tell me that Trent Frederick wasn't given opportunities early to have success. He got to play with McDavid, then he got to play center, and then he scored in Game 4. Why wouldn't he have confidence? If he lost his confidence, it's not because the coach didn't play him or given him an opportunity. And if you think, well, he put him with McDavid, and it's not the right spot for him, and it messed with his head. No, it didn't, because he scored in his 4th game of the season playing center without McDavid. I don't get it. Like you got some guys who got to play better. To me, it's that simple. Just play better. Now, it's not that simple to play better because it's hard to produce. That I know. It's difficult, man. The NHL is no joke. It's hard to produce. Now, speaking of production, a few guys who've been producing a lot won't be at the All-Star game. No Seth Curry, no Shea Gilgeous-Alexander, and obviously him out of the lineup has hurt the OKC Thunder. As we get to our NBA report, brought to you by Legacy Heating and Cooling, home of the no payments, no interest for 1 year on your furnace. Stay warm all winter long. LegacyHeating.ca, the host of Hoop City Saturdays on Sports 1440. Paul Sir joins us. Paul, welcome to the show. How you doing?
Doing great, Jason. Do you mind if I jump in a little bit about your comment about just produce more?
Yeah.
If I could, in my coaching career and also in my playing career, but the question that was the easiest to answer as a coach, not easy to execute, but the easiest to answer is I would get guys come up to me, particularly in the college and professional ranks, where they would say, Coach, what do I have to do to get more minutes? And I'd say, it's really simple. Be better than you are. And when you get out there, you got to produce. You've got to demonstrate you deserve those minutes. You've got to make me say, I've got to play this guy.
Mm-hmm.
I can't give you, there's no magic potion here. Bust your butt in practice, work on the little things, and when you get your chance, produce. But don't blame the coach that you're not producing. You miss shots. We all get that. That's not what coaches generally measure. I mean, to a point, you can't miss all your shots. But if you're out there and you're working your butt off and you're being productive and you're creating opportunities for yourself and your teammates, the odds are you're going to get some minutes because you've proven your value and your worth. But it's an incredible question of saying, well, if this doesn't happen, then that won't happen. That's just the nature of it. That's just the nature of sport.
Yeah.
And it's so easy to look for excuses as opposed to, is the core effort, is the work being put in when nobody's looking? Are all those things happening? That's what has to happen for somebody to be successful.
100%.
Not being good.
Like honestly, like I watch and a guy like Trent Frederick, and confidence can impact a lot of athletes. Paul, I'm sure you've seen it as a coach. And you can talk all you want and, pat the guy in the back. Jeremy, you're doing a great job. And I like this and I like that. But if Jeremy doesn't believe it, then it's ultimately, there's nothing, you can't take your confidence of a player and magically instill it in the player. He's got to have it. And when I look at Trent Frederick, like the guy lost all of his confidence. But then I look at him like, I didn't see a ton of extra work after practice. Just you know what? Do some shooting drills, have some fun, have some laughs, work on this, work on the shooting drills. Coming up, I'm going to score. I'm going to tell yourself, and hey, it's hard work to get out of a slump when you're not an elite player, because most elite players can get out of the slump because they're better than others. And so, you know what? If they drop a few percentage points, they're still higher. You're a mid-tier player. You drop a few percentage points, now you're a bottom-tier player. And it's hard to get out of that.
I think you're right on the mark, Jason. And my final comment on the topic would be exactly that. It's especially acutely important if you're a role player that you work your way out of your slump, because Connor McDavid can skill his way out of the slump, where you're going to have to work your way out of the slump if you're a role player. And losing confidence, I mean, we always talk about, depending on who's talking, is it 80% mental, 20% physical? Everybody's got a little different ratio, but there's no replacing effort, energy, extra work, and determination. And eventually you keep doing those things over and over again. You overcome your lack of confidence and things start going your way. But if you don't do that, it gets worse, not better.
Yeah. Let's get to the associate. Unfortunately, in the All-Star game, for sure, you want all your best guys there because it's just for showcase. Like, I don't really care about the quality of the game, but and more importantly,
because there is no quality of game. But I'm glad but you want everybody. You want the best players out there.
Yeah, like there shouldn't be a quality of game. If I'm being honest, I don't need to see these guys hammer each other in an All-Star game for what? Like, go have fun. They play hard all year long. Let them relax and hobnob. It's for sponsors and the host city, and away I go. What do you make of the Thunder? And hey, because it's always funny. Wow, geez, Shea Alexander, how good he is. Yeah, just see what happens when he's not in the lineup for the OKC Thunder. It's a big difference.
It's a big difference. Now the other night they had a nice performance. Williams is back. They're starting. Hartenstein's back. They're getting some of their role players, and maybe in the end, particularly with Williams back, this could be good for the Thunder to get better without Shea this year, because Williams has missed a lot of games. He hasn't been the player he was last year when he was an all-star. I think he was second team NBA, all NBA. Like, he needs to get his mojo back as well. So that would be the hope for outcome, but you can't replace the MVP. He's unreplaceable or irreplaceable, whatever the correct word is. But no, you cannot replace the best guy in your lineup. But Oklahoma City is blessed with a lot of talent and a lot of depth. You can all get better so that when he comes back, you're at your best with him.
Paul Sir joins us. Paul, what did you make of the trade deadline? Any moves jump off the page for you that you think were really good?
Well, early indicators, the Harden trade could be a great one for Cleveland. Watching them the other night when they beat Denver in Denver, you really got a sense for how good James Harden makes everybody else around him. And when the bigs were running the court, they were getting the alley-oop dunks. Passes were coming on time, on location. You give him a target hand, he'll find you. He's going to make Donovan Mitchell better. I think the fact I was talking about this on another program, but I think having Donovan Mitchell with him makes James Harden better at age 37, because now he doesn't have to be the guy, but he still is capable of creating something late in the shot clock, and he makes everybody better around him. We all know he's not a great defensive player, but you got the defensive player of the year and a real good shot blocker behind him. So I think to me, that's the biggest trade that could pay the most dividends. Cleveland is they were already starting to gain their confidence, and now they've come out of the gate with Harden, again, very early in it, but the chemistry out of the gate looks real good.
In the West, Spurs, Thunder, like let's say they're fully healthy. Who do you like?
I like the Thunder because they've been there. When you have been there, as you know, when you have tasted the mountaintop, you know what it means to be at the mountaintop. So that's no longer the veil in front of you. It's a matter of, it's hard to get back, but you know what it takes to get there. So I would favor the Thunder if they're both healthy. Spurs are very, very good, and they're going to become very, very good should the injury gods stay away from them for the most part. Wemby last night, my gosh, I don't know if you saw that, but he had over 30 in the first half, 40 in 26 minutes. I mean, he was playing a junior varsity. Let's be honest about the Lakers with Luka out, LeBron hurt. I mean, that's not a good team at all. And so, he had a chance to go off on a very bad team, but he's very good. So in the West, you have to I think you just have to go with OKC until somebody proves you differently. Denver, surprisingly, has struggled with Jokic coming back since the trade deadline. I think they've dropped 4 of 6. So, that's been an interesting development. They have not looked good, and Jokic, and I assign this primarily to, I don't think he's fully recovered because he really has not been himself. He's still putting up decent numbers, but not Jokic numbers, and he hasn't been able to take games over.
Yeah, and I was going to say he hasn't looked, because, hey, you come off of certain injuries. It's just going to take some guys, even the best players in the world, some time to get back to their full level. Speaking of best player, Jason Tatum, you think he's going to show up for the playoffs for the Celtics?
I do. I think the Celtics can't tank. No. They have made a couple of key additions now they got their post. Jaylen Brown's MVP caliber season. Pritchard has been fantastic this year, and the role players have been contributing. So now you get Jason Tatum back. If he's 70% of what he was, he would be a great addition in terms of not just skill but depth for the Celtics. So as you know, the modern recovery is very different from the old recovery. I ruptured my Achilles a long, long time ago. And I mean, we're talking medieval compared to today in terms of the kind of rehab training, nutrition, stretching, all that can be done. And you've seen some crazy things like Adrian Peterson from the Vikings. I think he ruptured his Achilles and broke the NFL rushing record or something the next year, and was playing 3 months after the rupture. But, it's not uncommon now to come back and be playing again 6 to 9 months after rupturing an Achilles, where it used to be career ending or at least a full year.
Yeah, it is kind of wild in that regard. Paul, we're into February now. Quickly looking around the local scene. I know we've talked a little bit about the domination of the Bears and the Pandas, and that looks to be continuing. What's caught your eye here recently in the local scene?
Well, Pandas had a disappointing second half of the season, 5-5. They played the tough teams, lost 2 to the undefeated Lisa Tomaitis coached Saskatchewan Huskies, who for the first time in 52 years went 20-0 in Canada West. Nobody else has done that in 52 years. But the Pandas lost 2 to them, then surprisingly lost 2 to Calgary and split with Regina. So now they went into 4th place. So now they've got to travel out to BC, and on Friday they're going to play Vic. And then if they're able to beat Vic, they got to go play UBC in their home court. So they got a tough road ahead. Scott Edwards can lead these guys out of it. They have really struggled offensively, which is atypical for them. And then the Bears, they finished high enough that they're going to, they don't have to play a play-in game. They're going to play the winner of Regina and Fraser Valley at 1:30 over at the Saville Center on Saturday. So Pandas and Bears are positioned for success, particularly the Bears. The Pandas, surprisingly, We didn't expect this, but it is what it is. Have the tougher road.
All right. Paul, great stuff. What's coming up on the show on Saturday?
Well, we're going to want to delve into the WNBA and what I would just call an absolute steaming pile right now of complete disarray in terms of where this is going, with players and management all over the place and not giving any indications that they're close to getting a deal, which threatens the season itself. And it's really shocking to see this, but we really want to delve into that. And I've got a fellow on that if you don't mind, I'll just share who he is. His name is Milos Prijovic. Milos is from Serbia. He played for me at Concordia. He was an All-Canadian. I was lucky enough to recruit him from a U.S. junior college. But I want to talk to Milos about what is it in the Serb genetics mindset that makes them so good, not just at basketball, but you look at Djokovic in tennis. This little country, a third of the population of Canada, and they have these guys that are just incredible players. And it's not because they're the best athletes. It's because of a whole bunch of other factors. So we're going to have Milos on, plus a lot of other good stuff, a lot of NBA talk, working on a couple of NBA insiders. So it's going to be a great show.
Awesome. Well, tune in, Paul. Have a great day, man.
Really appreciate it, Jason. You have a great day as well.
There you go. That's Paul Sir, host of Hoop City, Saturday mornings, 10 a.m. right here on Sports 1440. Let's get to the Con Man and a Sports 1440 update brought to you by Loca. Loca quality gourmet meals. Chef prepared. They have over 200 to choose from. You can see them in store in Sherwood Park or West Edmonton, just off 142nd Street. If you want to eat healthy and eat great, Loca Quality Markets.
This is the Sports 1440 update.
Olympic action continued. Curling now underway. Brad Jacobs skipped the Canadian men's curling team to a 7-6 win over Germany in the round-robin opener. Rachel Homan's ring scheduled to begin play Thursday morning against Denmark. Men's ice hockey also got going earlier today. Slovakia surprising Finland 4-1. Right now, Sweden leads Italy 3-2 with 16 minutes left in the final frame. Canada gets it going tomorrow morning, 8:40 a.m., taking on the Czechs. On this side of the Atlantic, you've got the Oil Kings hosting Everett at 7 p.m. in the BCHL. Crusaders in action hosting the Brooks Bandits. In the Association, Toronto Raptors taking on the Detroit Pistons. Tip-off 5:30. Also the Nets and Pacers. Knicks taking on the Sixers. Trailblazers in Minnesota. Thunder head to the desert, taking on the Suns, and the Warriors up against the Spurs. Coming up in hour 2 of the Jason Gregor Show, we'll be joined by Tyler Yaremchuk from Oilers Nation and Daily Faceoff. We'll ask 5 questions and hear Cam Tate's 2-minute warning. I'm Connor Halley. This has been a Sports 1440 update.
This is Sports 1440, a Stingray radio station broadcasting on Treaty 6 territory.
Download the free iHeartRadio app and listen to CKJR wherever you go.
Whether you're a craft beer connoisseur or more of a wine aficionado, there's always something new to discover at Sherbrooke Liquor, a unique family-owned independent liquor store. The selection, incredible.
Hey, Jason,
the non-alcohol
days.
section
Wow.
is also very impressive. Sherbrooke Liquor, expert, knowledgeable staff with a passion for unique finds. More than just a liquor store, we're a community. Alberta's best, the one and only Sherbrooke Liquor. Wine, spirits, and oodles of beer. Visit SherbrookeLiquor.com.
60 years ago, we started selling trucks as Western GMC Buick. Today, we are Wolf GMC Buick. We're still located on the corner of 184th Street and Stony Plain Road with the same ownership for over 2 decades. Our customers have trusted our family-owned, community-driven business. And for that, we are thankful. If you're looking for a truck or SUV, pop in and one of our seasoned professionals will get you a great deal, hassle-free. Come trust our team at Wolf GMC Buick. Wolf GMC Buick. We're making it easy.
Hello. You're never going to believe this. Booster Juice called your name today. You can get a free smoothie or acai bowl.
No way. I'm heading there now.
Oh my gosh, you and my brother had the same name. Okay, I'm calling him next. I'm hanging up.
Booster Juice Names of the Day is back. 2 names are selected each day, and if your name matches, you can get a free smoothie or an acai bowl. Watch for your name on the Booster Rewards app and social media. Must be an app member to qualify. Booster Juice, Canadian born, blending since 1999.
Get the lowdown with Low Tide. Weekdays from noon to 2 on Sports 1440. He's seen it all and then some. From stats to stories, he breaks it down like no one else. Proud to be Edmonton sports leader. Sports 1440.
Action Electrical's projects team takes the field, folks, ready to execute the entire play for new commercial builds.
Absolutely. They're masters of design, build, sketching strategy from initial blueprints to core electrical infrastructure. The team never misses on complex projects.
Known for handling big league constructions and major renovations, ensuring flawless execution, hire the Action Electrical team to bring home a win for your project. Visit actionelectrical.net.
Shoulder pain. It can make even the simplest things like reaching up, lifting a bag, brushing your teeth, or sleeping frustrating. Rotator cuff strains, impingement, arthritis, they're some of the most common issues we treat every day. I'm Grant Fedoruk, and at Leading Edge Physio, our team brings postgraduate training, evidence-based technology, and just the right amount of humor and humility to help you feel better. Because we never forget the most important part, the gratitude we feel for every patient who allows us the opportunity to care for them. Because life shouldn't hurt. When it does, leadingedgephysio.com.
Come for Canada's largest trade shows, the biggest names in entertainment, exhilarating sporting events, and more. And stay for the experience at the Edmonton Expo Centre. Looking for the perfect place to host your next big event? From trade shows to galas, meetings, and concerts, the Edmonton Expo Centre has the space, event expertise, and service to make your next event unforgettable. With over 522,000 square feet of flexible event space, in-house catering, and operational expertise, they bring your biggest vision to life. Learn more at edmontonexpocentre.com today.
Portions of this hour brought to you by Crystal Glass, your clear choice for residential windows, locally manufactured and installed. Crystal Glass provides a beautiful product and incredible customer services for all of your residential needs. Call 310 Glass or visit crystalglass.ca for a quote.
This is Sports 1440, where Edmonton talks sports.
On YouTube, Facebook, and X.
Here's Jason Gregor.
Brought to you by playalberta.ca.
We roll through. Jason Gregor, Connor Halley, Sports 1440, sports1440.ca. Do we have like a medal? We should get like some sort of sound effect for when Canada gets a medal. Cons. Because
like a gong, or what do you think?
Gong's kind of no, something kind of positive, something like that. That so we can announce that Canada has another medal. This one in figure skating, ice dance, to be specific. As Paul Poirier and Piper Gillies they finished third. It was if you saw the reaction, they probably maybe their best performance ever. If you look at their reaction when the judges were announcing their scores, because they actually were in first place. There were still obviously two other teams to go, and those teams had been ahead of them earlier. But you know what? When you get a bronze and you skate the best performance of your life, you don't feel bad. I know somebody like, oh, geez, I bet you they're disappointed they didn't get gold. Not if you do your best and you've never done better, and that's a bronze, that's awesome, right? Look at their if you when you watch it later, go watch the reaction to the scores, like there, and then just watch the skate itself. So good for them. So Canada is now up to 4. Still looking for that elusive gold. We'll get it. We got some golds coming, as Connor said, maybe tomorrow on the hill. And short track speed skating, obviously hockey, curling. There's going to be some opportunities coming up here for certain. But obviously would be good to get some. Hey, Greg's, I know I'm living under a rock, but what time's Canada's game tomorrow? Thanks from Anthony. Anthony, it's all good, man. The game tomorrow will be 8:40 a.m. Mountain Standard Time, 10:40 Eastern, 7:40 Pacific, depending where you're listening. So, or watching. That's where it'll be. And I think that game is on CBC tomorrow. If I'm correct in that, pretty sure that's where you can watch it. So, there you have it. Coming up this hour, we got lots to discuss in hour number 2 of the show. Yaremchuk's going to be by. We'll get his little update on his, I think that might have been his first PGA Tour event that he went to last weekend. So we'll get his thoughts on that. We got Ritch Winter coming up in the 4 o'clock. We got Spec Shane Willis as we go around the NHL to discuss it. But let's get to Cam Tate. We got the Tater. Yes, let's get to Cam. No, he's not ready. All right, we'll get the 2-minute warning brought to you by Legacy Heating and Cooling, where the rates never change, no overtime charges. That's how you build a legacy at legacyheating.ca. And speaking of legacies, the Italian goalie might be giving himself a legacy as Sweden is the half-century mark in shots in that game so far, as they are later in the third period, and Sweden leading 3-2. If you want to go check that one out. Now, Cam Tate, of course, a longtime journalist in town, 45 years to be exact. Cam, of course, always wanted to be on radio, but due to his disability, wasn't able to until now. Cam's words come to life in the 2-minute warning.
It's going to be a barn burner tonight at Rogers Place, folks. The Edmonton Oil Kings are taking on the WHL's top team, the Everett Silvertips. And here's a juicy twist. Everett's bench boss is none other than former Oil Kings coach Steve Hamilton. Oh, the drama. The stakes couldn't be higher. Edmonton's got a playoff spot on the line, and a win tonight punches their ticket. No pressure, right? Yeah, sure. This is the kind of game that makes your nachos taste better, your heart race faster, and your voice hoarse by the third period. But let's talk about the guy who could steal the show tonight, Ethan Simcoe, the man, the myth, the goalie, or as his teammates call him, Simmer. With 29 games played, a 2.69 goals against average, and a .897 save percentage, Simcoe's been shutting the door like it's his personal mission. Oh, and let's not forget his 20 wins. His favorite memory? Winning provincials. His NHL idol? Devin Levi, because goalies with grit and greatness are just cooler. Game day? Simmer lives for the warm-up. The music's blasting, the energy's building, and he's dialed in. His go-to pump-up track? Jimmy Cooks by Drake. Because nothing says I'm about to steal this game like a little drizzy. Off the ice, Simcoe's a wild card. On the team bus, he's a man of mystery, never sitting in the same spot twice. His billet family? 5 words. Funny, interesting, understanding, exciting, loving. And his funniest hockey moment? Let's just say those bus rides are legendary. What happens on the bus stays on the bus. Over $600,000 raised. Sykers Acres, world's longest hockey game. Some blisters look like a third toe. Players are putting donuts around them so as not to rub them. On the scoreboard, Team Hope 997, Team Cure 964. $600,000 raised. Amazing. Keep it coming. All right, 2-minute warning here. Gregor, Halley, Kruger. Can't help but wonder if he puts ketchup on nachos. This is Cam Tate, Sports 1440.
Yeah, the foot can become an issue for sure in the world's longest game, blisters and everything else. Remember many years ago, the duct tape was something, and now they've figured out different things. You know, you've got some skate toques that players will use at times when it gets chilly out, and you're going to get more blisters when the ice is soft, actually, because you're taking way more strides. So good luck to the ladies and gentlemen playing out in the world's longest game. We'll come back. We got Canada, Czechia, some order talk, some golf talk, and more with Yaremchuk on the Gregor Show, presented by PlayAlberta.ca.
Oodle Noodle Origins. In 1864, Francis Oodle took over his dying father's business as a leatherman. He was quite proficient, but his heart was never truly in the trade. After his father's death, Oodle met a cocksure young man named Vladimir Nudel, who was a trailblazer in the popular new art of food boxes. They formed a partnership and aimed to ply their trade in the New World. At Ellis Island, Nudel was renamed David Noodle, and henceforth, the franchise has been known as Oodle Noodle.
Summit Restaurant. Located in the heart of the Silent Ice Center and just minutes from South Edmonton Common, Summit is your destination for exceptional house-made pizza, delicious entrees, and expertly crafted cocktails. Experience the perfect blend of flavor and ambiance in a modern setting. Join us for a straightforward yet elevated dining experience where our commitment to quality speaks to every bite and sip. Make Summit Restaurant your next night on the town.
On the rocks, the party never stops.
Check it out.
Mondays, bingo tune.
Tuesdays, tacos and tequila.
Wednesdays, it's wings and karaoke.
Shake what your mama gave ya with salsa lessons on Thursdays and the best live DJs.
Plus live music every Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, along with DJ Kenny K.
Hold on, let's not forget $5 happy hour, 7 days a week.
Your bar, your party. You're on the rocks.
On the rocks.
Jeff Brav and 118th.
Big guests, bigger takes. Jason Gregor brings the names you know and the stories you don't. Weekdays, 2 to 6 on Sports 1440. Don't miss a minute of the action on Edmonton's sports leader, Sports 1440.
Scott McGilvery here, HGTV host and renovation expert. The one upgrade I know homeowners will love: better, fresher Culligan water straight from the tap. Culligan's Aquasential reverse osmosis filtration system takes your water to the next level. With up to 7 stages of filtration and 14 filter options, they're certified to reduce over 90 contaminants. Your tap water is about to get a major upgrade. Safer water that tastes great. Get started with a free in-home water test at Culligan.com. Culligan, water you love.
Top quality flooring, locally owned, and Canadian products from Beaulieu. Yeah, that's CFI.
CFI what?
No, CFI, Custom Floors Inc.
From free estimate to professional installation, contact Custom Floors Inc. at customfloorsinc.ca.
At Fountain Tire, success is a team effort. They're committed to their team members and their customers. And that means treating your vehicle like it's their own and finding solutions that suit your needs. Because whatever the road brings ahead, they're on it with you. Visit fountaintire.com today.
Portions of this hour brought to you by Papa John's. This week at Papa John's, enjoy a pizza, my heart. Thin crust pizza for only $17.99. Order now at papajohns.ca or on the Papa John's app.
The Jason Gregor Show, the best of Edmonton sports talk and beyond. This is Sports 1440.
Presented by PlayAlberta.ca, Alberta's only regulated online gambling website.
.321, welcome back, Jason Gregor. Connor Halley, Sports 1440, sports1440.ca, YouTube, Facebook, X, Instagram. Another medal today for Canada in ice dance. Of course, the hockey men's side kicked off today. We had an upset a little bit earlier today as Slovakia beat Finland 4-1. The Italians are giving the Swedes everything they can handle. Well, mainly because of goaltending. As Swedes are, with shots are like a 3-1 ratio now over that. Actually, it's like 3.5 to 1 because the shots are 53 to 15, but it's only 3-2. So the Italians are like one shot away from maybe tying the game. So that would be unreal for them if they can do it. William Nylander, late in that second period, is there late in the third period, did score the what's currently a go-ahead goal. So we'll see what happens in that one. Juraj Slafkovsky, 2 goals and an assist for their victory over Finland. And it's going to be, hey, the tournament's off to a good start. If you want competitive games, they're competitive because sometimes the goalie can make the score look a lot more competitive. Like no one thought Italy was going to really compete. Let's be honest. This might be the closest game of the tournament. We'll see how it goes, but they're in it. The crowd's into it. And man, when they scored the first goal, the building went absolutely bananas, as it should. It's in Italy. It's awesome. Awesome stuff. let's get to the oil report brought to you by Go Auto. 15,000 vehicles for you to choose from, 76 locations, 31 new vehicle brands. There is no shortage of selection at goauto.ca. As we welcome to the show from Motor Nation, face off Tyler Yaremchuk joins us. Ty, how you doing?
I'm doing great. I can't take my other screen has the Italy and Sweden game on. I can't take my eyes off of it.
Yeah, it's been a great goaltending performance, no question so far. I asked the question, actually, we were discussing it, I can't remember if it was last week or Monday, about Montreal's young guns, because they got Suzuki and they got Caulfield and they got Slafkovsky and even Hudson on the back end, and three of the guys are smaller. But I said the one thing that separates Slafkovsky is he's a big, huge human. And I don't know if he could be as good as Mikko Rantanen, plays a different position. Obviously, he's a center, but thought, hey, he's the guy who could be the biggest difference maker. I know it's only one game, but when I watched Slafkovsky today, I'm like, this is the guy who, if I'm Montreal, as much as I love Caulfield and as much as I love Suzuki, Slafkovsky's the guy who could be the guy who leads us in crunch time.
Yeah, I think the way I'd kind of view it is like, if you're going to have a team with the Suzukis and the Caulfields, then having a piece like Slafkovsky is a must, right? Having a big body who come playoff time can take over games when it gets tighter and more physical, and who can also score. Like, this is a guy who's on pace this year for close to or over 30 goals now, I think. So he's starting to produce. He's starting to find his stride this season at the NHL level. And I was reading some stuff from a few of the Montreal reporters today as kind of the whole hockey world reacted to, like, oh my God, Juraj Slafkovsky's taking this big step once again at the Olympics, and he turns into a different player. And they kind of all said, like, whoa, he's been close to this good at the NHL level so far this season. He's been awesome for the Habs. So again, he's necessary, you're right, because of the difference in the big size that he brings. And to see him dominate again today at the Olympics was just awesome. That first game was great.
Yeah, it was. And, now you move ahead to Czechia and Canada tomorrow morning, 8:40. Canada is the clear favorite in this game. I don't think there's any doubt about that. I'd mentioned, I think David Pasternak's the only skater on that team who would probably make Team Canada. Because I don't even think Marty Natchez is a lock, to be honest. But in one game, anything can happen. We've seen it before. But I was looking, and it's been a while, but the last two Olympics that Canada was in, they won both in 2010, 2014, very different ways. They won with all offense. They scored the most goals of any team in the NHL edition of the Olympics, scoring 35 goals that tournament. And then in 2014, they only allowed 3 goals. So I think this team is much more going to be like the 2010 team. They're going to outscore teams.
Yeah, I don't think you have Connor McDavid and Nathan McKinnon in your top 6 to go out there and take heavy, good D-zone shifts and all that. Like, no, you want to play with some pace. And I do think that mentality is probably evident in how John Cooper's thrown together his lines. Like, if you just wanted a team that's going to go out there, grind down the other team, play mistake-free hockey, all of that, you probably aren't putting Macklin Celebrini next to Connor McDavid, who has been excellent this year for the San Jose Sharks. I think he has a legitimate MVP case, like all those good things you got to say about Macklin Celebrini, but you're not putting a 19-year-old in that spot if you just want him to go out there and play safe and all these other things. And even with the adjustment they made to the lineup today, moving up a piece like Hagel next to Nathan McKinnon and moving up a guy like Sam Reinhart, I think, again, they want to play for offense. I think they're going to trust that their blue line can kind of play mistake-free hockey and make life relatively easy on Jordan Binnington from the perspective of not giving up grade A's, but I don't think they want their forward group worrying about anything like that. I think they want them pushing the pace and going forward, which is why I'm also really intrigued at Cooper's decision to go with Mark Stone, Sidney Crosby, and Mitch Marner, who are probably the 3 players who do have really strong defensive games. And that is something all 3 of them are known for. I think that trio is probably going to eat a lot of the tough matchups, take a lot of D-zone draws for Canada. And then you're going to see McDavid and McKinnon get a lot of those kind of gravy shifts. And when the other team ices the puck, when Czechia ices the puck, it's going to be McDavid or McKinnon, their lines going over the board. So I like the way this forward group is mixed, but I think it's definitely done in a way where it's like, those top 2 lines, they're going to go out there and try to eat offensively.
Yeah, I still think that you'll see one of those guys out against Pasternak's line quite a bit. They're not going to say, hey, because you know what? If we want Pasternak and Netches to play defense, we'll take that all day long, right? Because a lot of times, like I would say that even against the Oilers, if you have to force McDavid's line to play defense for a long stretch of time, you have a better chance to score than if you're playing against a defensive-minded line, right? Now, the key is, can you keep them in the defensive zone that long? That's obviously the challenge for anybody against offensive teams. I'm not sold. Like Czechia's team, when I look at it, I don't see them really built to be a team that can possess the puck in the offensive zone for extended periods of time. They're going to need Vejmelka to stand on his head to win the game.
Yeah, which, I mean, I don't know what it is about international hockey, but it feels like these games where goalies go and rip off 35 to 50 saves, it happens way more at these big events. And I guess it's because, there's often a bigger skill disparity. So there's more chances or opportunities or situations, I should say, where teams can put up 50 plus shots. But yeah, I mean, listen, that's the path to Czechia winning tomorrow. It starts with number one, goaltending, Vejmelka standing on his head. And then you kind of go from there. You probably need a timely power play and a big goal on that power play. If you're Czechia, you also really need to stay out of the box, because you look at the 5 players Canada can throw over the boards with that top power play unit, and you look at how deadly they were at the Four Nations face-off a year ago. And like that power play for Canada, I think it could go 40-45% in this thing.
Oh, very possible. Yes. And that, hey, we saw them score very early. The first game they played at Four Nations. It won't surprise me at all if McDavid and McKinnon combine for a power play goal by any stretch of the imagination. What about the seventh forward and the seventh defenseman? Is it Bennett and Theodore?
Yeah, I think I'd go Bennett over Jarvis, just because I feel like you can throw him out there for a little bit of an energy shift, go hit a few guys. Theodore on the blue line, I'm okay with that. I am curious, like Oliver Ekman-Larsson was the 7th defenseman for Sweden today, and he has not played a shift so far in this hockey game. And listen, I can maybe understand early in the tournament, you want to get your pairings and who you actually want out there comfortable with one another. If you're Canada, though, these 8 defensemen all played together a year ago. So maybe you do want to mix in your 7th defenseman a little bit more in case you do need him down the line a little bit in this tournament. But I'd have no problem giving Sam Bennett a few shifts here and there. Again, especially, I know it's a quick tournament, but it is just game 1. You have to play back-to-backs, right? You're going to be back in action on Friday as well. So yeah, I don't see any harm in giving Sam Bennett 7, 8, 9 minutes in this game. I don't think you need to be so worried about chemistry in that forward group that you need to keep Bennett parked on the bench. And, if you're John Cooper, just robotically keep putting the same combination of 3 players out there. I think you can get a little bit creative.
Tyler Yaremchuk from Daily Faceoff joins us. Ty wrote yesterday about the Oilers' depth, because there's been a lot of talk, and it got fueled a little bit by Derek Ryan coming. Oh, geez, the coach got to play the guys more, and I'm like, really? I think their actual minutes are okay. And so then I went in and I looked at all the other teams that have 60 points in the Western Conference, and lo and behold, Edmonton's depth guys aren't getting shortchanged. And a lot of times they're getting just as much minutes, some cases more than other teams' guys. They're just not producing. They just got to play better.
Yeah, I've always said this is a little bit of a chicken and the egg debate here. Like, if you're going to sit here and cherry pick games where this guy only plays 7 minutes and this guy only plays 9 minutes, it's kind of like, well, if they play better, they'll play more. Like, Chris Knobloch's not going to play someone that he doesn't trust. And, to give sort of the flip side of it here, I do understand where a guy like Derek Ryan's coming from, where it's like, hey, if you don't feel like you have a role and you're just kind of aimlessly going out for a 40-second shift every 4 or 5 minutes in the hockey game, or you get into situations like the Oilers have quite a bit this year, where there's a lot of power plays for either side, and you're not seeing power play time, and you're also not one of those bottom 6 guys who plays a role on the penalty kill, then I can understand why that would throw you out of your rhythm, and why you as a player would feel like you can't contribute to the best of your ability, because quite often you're going, again, 4 to 6 minutes in between shifts. Like, I can get why that hinder your ability to play at your best level. But at the end of the day, I'm not going to sit here and say that Trent Frederick would be having a great season if Chris Knobloch just played him 13 minutes a night, or Matthias Janmark would have more than 5 goals in his last 190 games or whatever it was, if Chris Knobloch just gave him a couple extra shifts a period. Like, it is on these guys to produce. And for some of them, the sample size is getting way too large to continue to make excuses like they're just not playing enough right now. If I want to, again, take maybe a side of criticizing Knobloch a little bit, I didn't love the last game with Mangiapane when he sat him after the one mistake. Like, Mangiapane came out, had some jam, had some juice, looked like, and then he made one mistake and he's sitting on the bench. And it's kind of like, okay, could you maybe not sit there and kind of kick him on the behind and say, hey, you know what? You've had a good game so far. You made one dumb mistake. Go take one more shift, hit another guy, do something positive. Like, I didn't like sitting him down, but again, I kind of see both sides of this argument, but I'm just not willing to make excuses for guys who make millions of dollars who aren't doing a lot of simple execution things right. Like, I'm not just going to sit here and say Trent Frederick would have 12 goals if he played 2 more minutes a game. Like, that's not true.
No, it isn't true at all. Now, I will say, and I know they did it for the final game. They started the game anyway with Nugent Hopkins as the third line center. I would think with the week practice when they return, and we know McDavid's not going to practice very much, if at all. If Canada goes to the gold medal game, he won't be here. And Leon Draisaitl, might get into 1 or 2 practices. We know they're the first and second line center. That's Captain Obvious stuff. Podkolzin with Draisaitl has worked. Hyman with McDavid's worked. I know they had Podkolzin there to start, and I don't know if I love that, but either way, I don't mind if like the third line has Kapanen on it, not because I don't think he can play in your top 6, but if I have Kapanen on the third line, I have Podkolzin on the second line, I have Hyman on the first line, I got McDavid, Draisaitl, Nugent Hopkins, I've got a skill guy, and I got a bigger body with some speed who can forecheck and get me pucks. And then I fill in Roslovic, Matt Savoy, and then question mark as to who's the other top 9 guy.
Yeah, and we've talked about this a handful of times now. Like, do you prefer having Nuge at 3C, go acquire a winger, or do you acquire 3C, keep Nuge at wing? I've kind of been a little bit opposite of you on that, where I don't have a massive problem if it ends up being Nuge back up with Connor McDavid. But what I would say is yes to run with Nugent Hopkins there until the trade deadline. You have 4 games from now until the deadline. I think you need to use that stretch of time and those last couple of games to see what kind of an answer you can get here from a few different combinations. Try Nuge with Kapanen, try Nuge with different guys on that third line, and see if you think it can work in the postseason. Because again, you don't want to get to the deadline. You don't want to come out of the break and just be so focused on, okay, we need to beat Anaheim. Let's load up McDavid, Nuge, and Hyman again and just keep rolling, and then get to the deadline, realize there isn't a good 3C out there, acquire a winger, and now you're kind of just wandering into the unknown a little bit and hoping some other pieces can fit together. So I'm a big fan of using these next 4 games here coming out of the break. I know that's 2 weeks away, I should say. I think you need to use it to get some answers here. And if it means running with Nugent Hopkins away from McDavid when 97 comes back from the Olympics, I think you have to do it because you want to know how he fits with other guys.
How was your first, is that your first PGA golf event?
Yeah, it was. And it was awesome, man. Again, I'm such a golf nerd that like just walking around and like for the first few hours, just bouncing between different groups and being like, oh my God, there's so-and-so shooting and all of this. Like that was so much fun. And then we went and we followed Nick Taylor for his entire round, saw every shot that Nick Taylor had, followed him for all 18 holes. And that was so cool to see the way that a pro kind of picks his way through a golf course and the kind of situations they get themselves in and the shots they can make. Like, it's wildly impressive to watch those guys up close. If anyone's never done it, like you have to get out at least once. It's great.
Dude, it's remarkable what they can do with a golf club.
Yeah.
Right. Like just like to me, what separates them so much is because they make bad shots.
Mm-hmm.
They recover from their bad shots. That's the difference.
Yeah, there was one. I was standing like 5 feet away from Sepp Straka, who, again, one of the best golfers in the world. And he was sideways lie in this thick rough. He had a tree in front of him, then another tree kind of blocking him out from the green. And like you can hear him talking to his caddy, and he's like, "Okay, yep, high hook, get it around, yeah." And like the way they even map out the way they want the ball to spin, where they want it to cut. And he just walks up with this ball in like 2-inch rough and just hammers it onto the green. It's just like, to see the conversation with him and his caddy, and then to see him execute such an intricate shot. Like, it's not as simple as just like, look at the ball, look at the green, whack it. Like, they're doing so many different things out there. It was crazy.
Yeah, it's funny you mentioned Straka because when I was there 2 years ago and we were walking the course the week before, and we were walking and just kind of me and my buddy Mike coming from a hotel, and there was no one on it because it wasn't really open. But some of the PGA guys had arrived early, and so we came around a corner, and he's bombing off of a par 4, and we're probably like 250 yards in the fairway down, and he hits it over our head, like, you know, whatever. I didn't really notice he hit. He comes out, "Hey man, we're really sorry we didn't see you guys there." I'm like, "Dude, no problem." But I didn't know who it was, right? But I'm like, "Geez," I said, "Yeah, you really pumped that one." Like, kind of, I thought it was just some guys, whatever, because he's not a very big dude.
Yeah.
And man, can he hit the ball. Like, and so we sat and chatted with him for a while. Then we watched him on the driving range. And that's probably the time where I was like, amazed. More so was just sitting back and watching them on the driving range as they're hitting all sorts of different shots. They're trying their fade, then they're doing a draw. And it was amazing to watch. And some of these guys weren't like the best guys even, but on the driving range, like that's why like they're all ridiculously good. It's just then you get into the actual round, and you know what? Then there's the pressure on, and as you mentioned, maybe it's not the perfect lie, and that's what separates some of the guys from the difference of winning a tournament and losing a tournament. Sometimes it's 2 or 3 strokes, one or two shots a day can be the difference in a tournament by 8 strokes, right?
Yeah, well, that's what made the Matsuyama collapse on 17 and 18 so crazy, is like watching him the last 9 holes. He didn't have his driver at all, and he kept going back to it. I couldn't believe it. I was like, man, like when the margins are that thin, hit your 3-wood. If you're 50, 60 yards shorter, you'll get on with your next one. Like they're so good with their long irons too. So that Matsuyama collapse was insane. And yeah, the Phoenix Open, I think it's something like 4 times in the last 10, some crazy stat. It goes to a playoff more than any other event. It was wild.
Yeah. Ty, what's your expectation tomorrow for Canada?
I mean, just based on watching today's games, the expectation is that this is going to be a very close game. Like if Sweden couldn't steamroll Italy, like if you would have gave me a guess, I would have thought Sweden would have won 8-1 today. The fact it was 5-2 and close late, and Slovakia didn't just beat Finland, which is a surprise. They beat them 4-1. Like I'm sitting here thinking this game tomorrow, it's the spread's 2.5. It's going to be tighter than that. I think it's a 1 or 2 goal game. I wouldn't be the least bit surprised if Canada gets pushed to overtime. Like I just think this tournament is going to be way closer in every game than we expect.
All right. Okay. Well, you will we'll watch with interest. Thanks, man. Have a good one.
Yep. See you, Greggs.
That's Tyler Yaremchuk from Oilers Nation and Daily Faceoff. We will get to 5 questions when we return. Then we got Ritch Winter, who's going to be fired up today. Coming up in the business of sports here on the Jason Gregor Show, presented by PlayAlberta.ca, where you can get in the game all the time. Check out the Jason Gregor Show, where you got some odds boost specials, some NBA games, and of course, hey, it's going to be early, so by the time we're on tomorrow, the Canada game is over, so we got a little Olympic action for you to check out at PlayAlberta.ca. We will return with 5 questions.
Japa Machinery Group knows that XCMG may not roll off the tongue, but Japa's team will help keep your construction jobs rolling on time and on budget with heavy equipment sales and rentals. Visit japamachinery.com to find out more.
You've got a go-to coffee spot, a trusted barber, even a lucky game day jersey. But when it's about looking your absolute best, there's only one name you need, Mr. Dirk. Family run since 1939, we're experts in crafting impeccable tailor-made suits and offering a wide variety of everyday styles. Pair that with personalized one-on-one fittings and the convenience of on-site tailoring. Mr. Dirk elevates your style game. Visit our Edmonton store or explore MrDirk.com. Score big on style with Mr. Dirk. Noodle, noodle, nood, noodle, nood, noodle, nood, noodle, noodle, nood. Noodle, noodle, nood, 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 noodle, noodle, nood, noodle, 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 nood, noodle, nood, noodle, nood, noodle, noodle, nood. Noodle, noodle, nood, 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 noodle, noodle, nood.
Troll down to Oodle Noodle tonight because dine-in is open. Sometimes you think about what you're going to do in the day. Go to work, pick up the kids from school, make supper. But at GS Construction, we think a little differently. Winter is our season to think, to plan, and to improve. We study, we innovate, we train. So when the thaw comes, we're ready to dig, build, and deliver even better, which means we need people like you. If you're thinking about joining the team at GS Construction, now's the time to do it. To apply and to see how we think, visit gsconstruction.ca. Edmonton's only 24-hour-a-day sports radio station can be heard anytime, anywhere. Sports 1440 is streaming on your phone, your tablet, your computer. Download an app today and listen to Sports 1440.
Hi, Mike here from Northgate Chevrolet Buick GMC. Free trips, free iPads, a barbecue, a wood stove, the #1 dealer in the world. What? Who cares? How about no pressure, a great deal, finance rates as low as 0%, trade values you can be happy with, and an indoor showroom. And we're pretty good people. Stop in and see us today, 13215 97th Street, or visit us online at northgategm.com.
His name? Paul Del Vecchio.
better known as Pauly D from TV's hit reality series Jersey Shore. Now he's bringing the party to the venue at River Cree Resort and Casino. Get ready for DJ Pauly D. Voted as one of the best DJs in the U.S., his passionate, high-energy sets have made him one of the most sought-after DJs in the world. DJ Pauly D. March 7th. Hurry, get your tickets now at rivercreeresort.com.
River Cree Resort and Casino. Excitement? Bet on it.
Portions of this hour brought to you by Cantork, made in Canada, made for Canada, where extreme isn't theoretical. Find your solution at cantork.com.
The Jason Gregor Show, the best of Edmonton sports talk and beyond. This is Sports 1440.
Presented by PlayAlberta.ca, Alberta's only regulated online gambling website.
We roll through. Lovely Wednesday afternoon. Man, if you're an ice dance fan, pretty emotional days. Bronze medalist, Poirier and Gillies, pretty fired up. They had the skate of their life to get on the podium today for them. Fantastic. It's always good to see people. When you said personal best, man, like, and that gets you on the podium, it's unreal. 4 years, a lot. Well, more than 4 years, but lots of work to get to something like that. So that's pretty awesome. Hey, Gregor, leave Frederick out. He's never been good at anything. Yeah, the guy scored 18 and 17 goals. Kenneth. Another classic Kenneth take. Very little truth behind it. Yeah. Right. And oh, by the way, when he scored his 18 and 17 goals, he didn't play with Pasternak and Marchand. So proven he can be a productive player without playing with his team's two best players. It's not that difficult. Lots of guys in the league do it year after year. And Frederick is capable of doing more than he has in Edmonton. Any suggestion otherwise is just a hot take with zero substance. That's all it is. Frederick's got to play better. Simple. To suggest that he hasn't been good before is simply false. Let's get to 5 questions brought to you by The Brick. Stop in at The Brick, South Common, West Edmonton Mall, North Side, downtown. You can get, when you go in-store, you get 50% off clearance mattresses and up to 60% off clearance scratch and dent appliances at The Brick and thebrick.com.
It's time for 5 questions on the Jason Gregor Show.
All right, Jason, question number 1. Since it's our last show before the Canadian men take the ice tomorrow morning, let's get a game prediction and a bold prediction when they take on the Czech.
This is, been a long time coming for basically every player in Canada. They're a better team. And I think that they will take care of the Czech. I think, honestly, that the games today, not that Canada was ever going to take them lightly. I just don't think you can. You respect, they got a lot of NHL players in that team, but Canada's a way deeper team, and they will show it tomorrow. I think Canada wins 5-2, and Tom Wilson scores a goal.
Yeah, I think he's going to be flying out there. I'm with you. I think Canada will find a way to win this game. I liked that scores, but I'll take a different one, go a little more scoring, 6-3. And my prediction is, since I picked them to, lead the tournament in scoring, everyone on the, well, no, I did not technically, but McKinnon, McDavid, Celebrini combined for 7 points. I'm going to go with. Question number 2. If it were your call, who gets to start between the pipes in this game?
Yeah, I'm not sure it's going to matter that much. I could see why you would go with Binnington for game 1, but after that, it's a wide open competition. And I don't care what he does in the first game. I'm playing Thompson in game 2. I would have that set out beforehand.
Yeah, I mean, I want to get Logan Thompson out there. For me personally, against probably the toughest competition, happens to be Czechia. So I guess that's where I would go. I don't think because of what happened in the past that Binnington has to get that start. I know he elevated his game when it mattered in overtime against the States, but you're here to win. It's a short tournament. So for me, I'm going Logan Thompson in this one. Question number 3 for you. We saw Slovakia surprise the Finns earlier today. Italy puts up a heck of a fight. Of the non-four nation face-off teams, who do you think could go on a surprise run?
Germany.
I like that one. I'm going to go with Slovakia. I love the way they played. I thought they were just outstanding against the Finns. The first game for the Finns and Sweden, so maybe just trying to figure things out. But if Slovakia hits the ground like that, they should get past Italy. Even if they don't beat Sweden, keep it close, go on a bit of a run there. So I really liked what the Slovakians did. I'll say them. Question number 4 for you. We saw the men's curling getting going today. Get past Germany with the win. The women tomorrow morning. For those two teams, do you think it's gold or bust?
Yeah, of course. Canada's one of the best curling nations. No question about it. They go in. But at the same time, listen to Mark Kennedy, like, you got to respect it that, like, if you get a silver and the other team beats you by 1, like, yeah, you'll be disappointed. But I don't think it's like life altering. What a failure. There's lots of really good teams. It's not like Canada is the clear favorite in both the men's and the women by a large margin. So yeah, I don't know. I think that'd be disrespectful to say it's a bust. They want to win, yes, but it doesn't mean a failure if they don't, because there's lots of other good competitors. It's not like, in women's hockey, where if you don't get gold or silver, that's a bust. No question, because there's only 2 teams that no one else should beat you. In this tournament for both the men and the women, there's at least 4 really good teams that have a legit shot.
Yeah, I mean, and I think for the men, it's less gold or bust. Like if they podium, I think pretty successful. For the women, I'd say more so. You can take away the term bust because that does make it sound like it's nothing. It's still impressive, but I just think the home and rink is so good right now. I really like their chances going into this one. My final question for you today is the late Bert Reynolds' birthday. Obviously, he was in a ton of movies in his career. If you had to pick, let's say 1 or 2, what do you think you would say would be your favorite?
Go ahead.
I mean, the first one that comes to mind for me would be The Longest Yard, Paul Wrecking Crew. I mean, and so good they made a second one, and he was in that one as well. But I would say the original. And then another one, it just always stands out to me. I don't know if I want to watch it again, but Deliverance was one that one of the first movies my dad sat me down and watched with me. And maybe that's why I still haven't seen some of his recommendations. But it's always one that stands out. So I'll throw that in there.
Well, I got some classics to go back. Probably Smoking the Bandit would be my favorite Burt Reynolds movie. That was awesome. I remember watching that as a kid numerous times. It was great. And another one where Burt played a very different character was Striptease.
Kind of the creepy old guy, was he? Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. So showed his acting range there.
Yeah. I remember the previews for that movie.
Yes.
The trailer. Boogie Nights too.
Oh yeah.
Another one.
Yeah. Yeah. So. Oh, by the way, Sweden did made it 5-2, which people say, 5-2. You know what? But it was a little harder than they probably wanted early on for the first 40 minutes, but they get the victory for Team Sweden. 833-401-1440, 833-401-1440. Hey guys, I haven't been able to listen. I'm back now. I love what you've done with Tater segments from Nooch and Camrose. Way better. Well, yeah, we had a better voice, Nooch. So thanks for that. We appreciate it. And now Tater's voice is unreal. Hey, Greg, you're bang on. Bro, any medal at the Olympics is a massive accomplishment. You are literally the best in the world, regardless of the sport. And other sports with more competitors, it's amazing to see. I think the competition across the world is getting better in lots of different sports. And it is true. Like, you know what? Hey, you get a bronze medal in ice dance for so many people that are figure skaters in lots of different places. And, it's not like Canada has been like an ice dance hotbed. Like there's certain sports, like Norway dominates in certain sports every year. Like that's just kind of ingrained into them. Like that's really the focal point of their country. ice dance isn't that for Canadians. So to get on the podium in ice dance, I think is pretty damn impressive for sure. Cannonball Run. Oh, that's another classic. Yeah, I was thinking about that one in Smokey and the Bandit, but I chose Smokey and the Bandit. But Cannonball Run is classic for sure. Hey guys, do you know, is the Italian goalie signed by anybody? I have to look it up, but no, I don't think so. And I know a lot of people talk about, oh yeah, look at Minnesota. They're going to trade their goal. They're going to trade for sure because I got this guy in the minors. Like, it's one game and you're feeling it for one game, and that's awesome. But that doesn't mean the guy's going to be an everyday NHLer because of one game. Right? It just doesn't. Like, how does he play if he only gets 22 shots? I have no idea. I never watched him play before. So I never get overly excited, especially about a goalie having a great game once at a tournament that means, oh yeah, this guy, we got to sign and got to get him to the NHL. Like, I don't think so, right? There's players, there's goalies can have one really good game, lots of games, and then who knows what happens. But now is it I can't remember which team. Somebody's goalie was drafted by the Ducks, but I have to look it up.
It was Clara.
It was Clara?
Yeah, 60th overall, actually.
Oh, so a late second rounder.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
And then it was the Slovakian goaltender, plays with the Wild AHL organization.
Yeah, Iowa Wild. Yeah,
And,
he's got like his numbers aren't like jumping off the plate.
No, like 40th out of 42nd or something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But you know what? For that game, man, he was unreal. He was unreal. So, good for him. You get on the big stage, and what's funny though, like when you have an opportunity like that and you rise, it is going to open eyes, and that might give you more opportunities down the road, right? For sure. Like I'm trying to think of the young world junior goalie a few years ago. Was it for Switzerland? Might have been Latvia's junior goalie whose name is escaping me, but he stood on his head. He was unreal, and people were like, oh my God, this guy's going to be, it's one great game and it's awesome, but he even had he had like 3 or 4, had a really good tournament, but it's so hard to become an NHL player and then remain one past 1 or 2 good games. Because you know what? Emotion, energy, lots of things. You could be amped up more than ever for that game and just play out of your minds, and then it doesn't necessarily doesn't stick. So we'll see. We're going to get to Ritch Winter second. We got a lot of text line in 833-401-1440. 833-401-1440. Guys, goalie's the one position I think there's just not enough spots to go around. I think there are lots who are overlooked from Giant Mike. Yeah, maybe. But like that's why I think you see goalies start in the ECHL. Because, they want to get them starts. You want to get them, you don't want them just sitting on the bench. They go there. Nowadays, like there's Europe. There's so many leagues now. I think if you're really that good of a goalie, they'll find you. If you're that good of a defenseman, that good of a forward, I think they'll find you. So, I don't, I don't know if nowadays there are like those players who come out of nowhere. And the guy was playing in the Penal League and no one had heard of him. And then suddenly the scout goes and finds him. Like that's kind of rare nowadays. Teams have extensive scouting. And honestly, if you're even a remote decent player, you're putting your highlight package on social media. And then if it's that good, people share it and then you get seen. So yeah, I think there's always an opportunity. Now, some might have to take longer to get there. That's valid. But I'd be surprised if there was a goalie good enough to be a regular, not good enough to play 1 or 2 games, but good enough to be a regular in the NHL who's not there, unless they're young and they just haven't been given a chance yet. But who's some guys like 28 and you know what, they could easily be an NHLer. Now there's some players in Europe who, guess what? Could they come over here and be a backup goalie? 100%. But they play in Sweden or they play in the KHL and it's their native country and they can make just as much money. And a lot of times not have to play as many games. It's not as stressful. You're not having a culture shock. So yes, there are some guys there, but them not coming in certain cases is a choice. Because they're like, well, I could be the starting goalie here, play lots of minutes, have loads of fun, or I could go to the NHL and be a backup. Do you want to be? It's like there's lots of North American players who could go play in the KHL or other places, but they choose not to. So there is that case. So there's some maybe who don't do it because of choice. But I think at the end of the day, if you're that good, you'll get found. Let's get to the con man. Sports 1440 update brought to you by Fountain Tire. If you're looking for tires to purchase, maybe you're looking for vehicle repairs, oil changes, they do it all. FountainTire.com.
The Sports 1440 update.
Winter Games action continues. Canada picking up their fourth medal in 2026. Figure skaters Piper Gillis and Paul Poirier capturing bronze in the ice dance. Brad Jacobs got the Canadian men's curling team to a 7-6 win over Germany in the round-robin opener. Rachel Homan's rink scheduled to play Thursday morning against Denmark. Men's ice hockey getting going today. Slovakia surprising Finland 4-1, and despite a great effort from the Italians, Sweden victorious, winning 5-1. Canada is going tomorrow morning, 8:40, taking on the Czechs. On this side of the Atlantic, the Oil Kings will host Everett tonight down at Rogers Place. Puck drop 7 p.m. And in the BCHL, Crusaders in action. They'll host the Brooks Bandits. On the hardcourt, Raptors taking the Pistons just after 5:30. Coming up in hour 3 on the Jason Gregor Show with another edition of the Business of Sport with NHL player agent Ritch Winter. I'm Connor Halley. This has been a Sports 1440 update.
Sports 1440, Stingray radio station. CKJR broadcasts from West Edmonton Mall and Wetaskiwin.
Download the free Stingray music app and listen wherever you go.
Excavators, loaders, lifts, compaction equipment, and more. Find the XCMG construction equipment you need. Available for rental or sale at Japa Machinery Group. Japa, helping build Alberta from the ground up for 50 years. Visit japamachinery.com.
Hey, Edmonton, did you know a local Play Alberta winner scored over $500,000 on Mega Jackpots Ocean Bells? Think about the season tickets you could lock down with that kind of cash. From major casino winners every hour to jackpots worth millions and hundreds of popular games to money that stays in the province, there's never been a better time to sign up for Play Alberta. Download the app today to get started with casino, sports, and lottery all in one app. Must be 18 plus to play. When you gamble, use your game sense.
You've got a go-to coffee spot, a trusted barber, even a lucky game day jersey. But when it's about looking your absolute best, there's only one name you need. Mr. Dirk. Family run since 1939. We're experts in crafting impeccable tailor-made suits and offering a wide variety of everyday styles. Pair that with personalized one-on-one fittings and the convenience of on-site tailoring. Mr. Dirk, elevate your style game. Visit our Edmonton store or explore MrDirk.com. Score big on style with Mr. Dirk.
Want sports talk on the go?
You can listen to 1440 on the AM dial or stream us on your mobile device through apps like Radio Player, iHeart, and Stingray Music.
Edmonton sports fans,
turn to Sports 1440.
1440.
Hello. You're never going to believe this. Booster Juice called your name today. You can get a free smoothie or acai bowl.
No way. And they're now.
Oh my gosh, you and my brother had the same name. Okay, I'm calling in next. I'm hanging up.
Booster Juice Names of the Day is back. 2 names are selected each day, and if your name matches, you can get a free smoothie or an acai bowl. Watch for your name on the Booster Rewards app and social media. Must be an app member to qualify. Booster Juice, Canadian born, blending since 1999.
The job isn't done until the last load is hauled, and having a semi-trailer out of commission is not an option. Whether replacing or adding to your convoy, Edmonton Trailer has a huge inventory of new and used semi-trailers, trusted by the gravel, logging, oil field, fluids, and freight industries. Find a trailer right for you online or at one of their 3 locations. For sales, service, parts, rental, and finance, when you're in it for the long haul, Edmonton Trailer.
If I had $46,000, I'd buy a robot butler and a trampoline. And maybe a trampoline for the robot butler.
You might have a few ideas of your own. The first early bird deadline for the Big Brothers Big Sisters Dream Home Lottery is February 11th. Get your tickets now for a chance to win $46,000 and support kids across Edmonton. Buy today at bigbrothersdreamhome.org. Lottery license number 745563 and 745562. Tickets sold only within Alberta.
Winter snow and ice are nothing to fear when the Lawnmower Hospital's in your corner. Keep pathways clear of snow with the Echo PB770T backpack blower. Or go even bigger with the huge PB9010T. Right now, buy select commercial walk-behind BCS sweepers and get the Echo PB9010T for free. The Lawnmower Hospital has pet-safe, plant-safe ice melt, too. Visit lawnmowerhospital.com.
The Lawnmower Hospital.
You see it? Fusion Promo Marketing can make it. Fusion makes high-quality, memorable promotional products for businesses, sports teams, and corporate events. From vision to reality, get noticed and remembered. Fusion with a Z. Promomarketing.ca.
Okay, there's still time to swing by Bunches Flowers for a showstopper bouquet that feels thoughtful, personal, and unforgettable. It's the family-owned Edmonton florist that knows how to deliver romantic flair and big smiles. BunchesFlowers.com.
Portions of this hour brought to you by Leading Edge Physio. From weekend warriors to professional athletes, kids playing soccer, to grandparents in the garden, rotator cuff tears and tendonitis to post-surgical knees and hips. We fix your body. Life shouldn't hurt. LeadingEdgePhysio.com.
The Jason Gregor Show. The best of Edmonton sports talk and beyond. This is Sports 1440.
Presented by PlayAlberta.ca, Alberta's only regulated online gambling website.
Just after 4 o'clock, how are you? Welcome to the Gregor Show, presented by PlayAlberta.ca. Welcome back. If you've been listening, thanks so much. As always, it's presented by PlayAlberta.ca. We're the OG of lotteries tonight. You can get your tickets, $28 million. The Gold Ball jackpot, classic jackpot of $5 million at PlayAlberta.ca. 833-401-1440, 833-401-1440. We'll talk a little bit more later on about the Elks. They unveiled lots of their new players today. 3 linemen. You got some receivers. Obviously, Powell is the second quarterback. Emily Carney as their rush. And interesting, Carney's going to wear number 2. That might have been the most surprising thing for me. I'm trying to think, like, a defensive end wearing number 2. The hell's going on? So, and it's like the Giz, man. I'm kind of like, wow, that's a little surprised. Now, I know Trey Ford wore 2 as a quarterback, so obviously guys wear it. It's not retired in football. There's so many numbers of them, but it's a unique look to have a number 2 on the defensive end position. I'm trying to, I can't even think of one. I know I've seen 4 like last year, right? So I guess 2 shouldn't be that different, but I don't know. Just 2 on the D line. So get used to it. Green and gold, you're hoping number 2. Now, I don't know. He's probably not going to be as exciting as the Giz, but they're hoping that he's as impactful for sure. Now, let's get to our big guest of the day, brought to you by Spruce Grove Saints. If you're looking for exciting BCHL action, check out sgsaints.ca. They're finally back home, man. It seems like forever that they've been on the road, but they've got a lot of home games coming up in February. So get your tickets at sgsaints.ca as we welcome in longtime NHL player agent Ritch Winter joins us in the business of sport. Rich, how you doing? How is Phoenix?
It was only 75 today, so not that great. Last few days have been up over the 80s, so pretty good here. But I think that guy's going to be very exciting once he figures out he has to do the backflip at the end of every play. That's going to be impressive.
But dude, I tell you, man, you're like, hey, you want to warm yourself over. If he gets his first sack, he should throw it in a flip. Just do it once. You don't have to do it all the time, but that would get the fans going. They love the flip. Who doesn't like the flip? Everybody likes it.
No, that'd be he's got a lot of pressure on him. I hope he can manage it.
Now, today we're going to get really into the business of sport in a little bit on the player side. Obviously, representing players, you've dealt with lots of it, and I want to talk a little bit about Calvin Pickard's situation. Of course, being in Edmonton for a few years, and the business of sport can be ugly at times, and can be challenging for players. I know Leon Draisaitl talked about it. One of his best friends on the team is Calvin Pickard. They're really close. He's beloved by his teammates. A really funny guy, and they brought in 2 other goalies, so then he was kind of relegated to number 3, and he's put on waivers, and he hasn't claimed. Were you having conversations with Stan Bowman? Are you ever looking at trade potentially rather than waivers? How does that work?
Well, this situation's a bit unusual because in the conversations I've had with Stan, he's not sure Calvin's not number one. He just got into a situation where, right now the coach has got flavors, favors lemonade and strawberry, is not sure on grape, and there's not a lot of difference between them. Their statistics are very similar. The issue that I had with it was it didn't make sense to me when you could have sent Ingram down. Now they got Calvin through waivers, so that worked out okay. But if you look at Calvin's, there's so many factors that come into winning. We've heard it for 2 years. Every time Calvin's in the net, everybody says the guys play better because they love him, because they want him to succeed. Now that shouldn't be the case, but it appears to be the case. He's a glue, figure in the dressing room. Draisaitl posted on Instagram within seconds of him clearing waivers, maybe the best teammate we've all ever had. You can't deny the value of that when you get down a couple of games in the playoffs. Now, so I looked at it and talked to Stan. He's 9-2 in the playoffs. Do we forget? These guys have never had much playoff success. Ingram hasn't hardly played in the playoffs. His last 3 games starting to come around. First star against Winnipeg, played really well. In his last 3 games, I think he was 9.5 save percentage, thereabouts. So you start looking at it and say, geez, he seems to be coming around at a time when the team's starting to play better, which they didn't do in Winnipeg. How many games has a goalie stolen for this team this year? It might be that only game. I'm not sure. There may be a couple of others. So it didn't, so what we did is you got to evaluate. This is the same thing that Connor McDavid had to go through in the summer in a different context. He said candidly he wants to play with his friends and win, right? So he would have had to evaluate the probability of that. I think he probably would have came to the conclusion it's not top shelf. It's maybe okay. We've been there twice, not as strong as we were last year. But then you have to go to the other side of the equation and say, okay, well, if I'm not going to sign in Edmonton, where else? There's 24 teams boxed right out of the game because they're not winning, and then there's some with cap issues. It's not easy. So when Calvin went on waivers, we decided, do we talk to another teams? Do we rush it? Well, no, we don't, because ultimately he has a great relationship with the people here. He's had success here. And everybody thinks there's not enough differentiation between the 3 of them to suggest any other place is a good place to go, right? So we talked about it. Calvin's pretty level-headed about it. And, this is not something that's unfamiliar to him, It might break another guy. It'll just motivate him. And I just said to him simply, when he went off for his break and I went off for mine, I just said, let's do lunch during the playoffs because he'll be here. And I say that with conviction because I have 47 All-Star Game appearances, 6 Vezina trophies, 2 league MVPs, 1 Norris Trophy, 3 Conn Smythe trophies, and 82 Stanley Cup rings won by guys who have waived and cleared, were bought out, or never drafted. I know my players. I think Stan knows this player. I think that they're not sure what to do in the blue paint. And Calvin's more likely to play here and have playoff success than anywhere else. So he'll do what he has to do. He's done it in the past, and I don't think there's any doubt. But, there's lots of conversations about it. It's disappointing for him, obviously, because I don't know if, there's not enough evidence that says, yes, the other guys are better. Which one of them has won? Collectively, they haven't won 9 games in the playoffs, have they?
Well, no. Jari's only ever played 8 playoff games.
But that's the issue, is because you have to go sometimes a little, and I think that the culture thing is so big, right? These guys knew the last 2 seasons when Calvin went into a big game, when their season was in really tough shape, they know what he did. He delivered. They don't know that about the other guys. How are they going to play in front of them? How nervous are they going to be? How will they play differently? Will they have the confidence that they can? I don't think so. And ultimately, that will make sense to the coaching staff, I would think. I'm not a big fan of the way they handle it, but, they've got to do their job too.
Looking at, the situation with Pickard. So now I know he doesn't legally or technically, I guess, have to report to Bakersfield until the 17th. Because I know, similar to the NHL players that would come back, they got an optional skate on the 17th or 18th, and then they go. Being a veteran, well, when he comes back, because I know he had a planned family trip like lots of the players.
Yeah.
Will he be given more time to go down? Is that how does that work?
Well, no, there's a good chance he'll take less time. And Calvin's a very competitive guy. He's gone off with his family for a vacation. I think there's a high probability he might just head down a little bit early. Now, the rules require him now to play one game before he comes back. So he's going to have to go down and play another game regardless of what happens. So he'll do that for sure. And, it's just up, as far as I'm concerned, it's just up. Time will heal this whole thing. The other goalies will do what they've done. Nothing. Right. And somebody will figure it out. Hey, we had a guy here who's doing the same as this. He's loved by all his teammates. He's delivered in his playoffs. Hey, does anybody have his number? Where is he? Oh, he's down in Bakersfield. Who sent him down there? Coach, you actually sent him down there. Oh, well, you guys got to call him. I think I'm being facetious a little bit, but that's going to happen. I have no doubt. I was with, Calvin's not Dominic Hasek, but I've been with some players who are in tough spots and ended up winning things like Vezina trophies. Calvin's a good backup. He's a good guy in the crunch, and he's solid and emotional. I remember I laughed because I asked him last year, because everywhere he goes, everybody talks about how much they love him. And I said, so what goes on in that room, man? Like, you have to tell me. He just looked at me very slyly and said, you know what goes on in the room stays in the room. You know that. I just said, like, seriously. But, he just is an asset. That culture thing is so important. We had Steve Hauskon, right, last year, talking about, the former Seattle Seahawks kicker who won the Super Bowl with them. He's now working with the same guy that was a culture coach that led them to their last championship. Now, Mike went off to do other things, and Steve and he have been working together. They brought him back this year. Another culture reinstated, culture reformatted, rebuilt, and I think they would tell you not determinative, but a huge factor. These games in the playoffs, a bad performance by Pickard in one of those series last year, they don't make it past the second round. It's not small.
Oh yeah. No, it's valid. You look at and for him, you mentioned how he'll go down to the minors and obviously he'll play down there. And he spent almost 6 seasons essentially in the American League with a few cups of coffee up and down before he came back to the NHL. So he's done it before, Rich. At the same time, when you have a player going through all of that with the experience of it, is it more you say, hey, like, you don't want to wait till they ask for help, because most people don't ask for help. That's just a fact in life. So do you have to be more proactive when a player clears waivers and is going to the minors when they're a veteran player than you would normally?
Oh, there's always lots of conversation the day of waivers. Have you heard anything? Have you heard anything? And we never know for sure, because sometimes teams don't want to tell you because they're farther back in the pack and they don't want it out there. So they're a little reluctant to say. They might tell you they're interested. We didn't call anybody this time because we just evaluated this is the spot that he's going to play some playoff games and win. And it made more sense to be, not to be proactive, but sure, we talked a lot. Calvin's pretty established, settled guy. So he's not, not really panicking, more curious than anything else. And, I talked to him after, just to see how he's doing, so that's maybe a bit unusual. And he was more calm than I was probably about it. And, he's just got a lot of confidence. He knows what he can do. And I think when you're confident with you, these things don't shake you. I remember one time when Hillary Duff was married to Mike Comrie, that she went over to talk to Mike prior to the game when he was working on his stick, and she, I remember saying to her that they were all nervous. I said, well, one time I went to Detroit, right? Young Steve Yzerman grabbed me at the door because Kenny Holland was doing an interview on the bench. I am very uncomfortable being around the room. I don't think agents should be there, but Steve brought me there. I'm standing waiting for Ken to finish his interview. And the guys are coming out for the warm up, and they're giving me fist pumps. I know half of them. I'm like, Kenny, we got to get out of here. And then Babcock comes out, grabs me in, and, Brad McCrimmon was there. One of the last times I saw Beast, and big hug, seeing him. I said, and I was explaining this, the difference between the great teams and the also-rans is they can't handle any interruption in the pattern. They panic. And the Red Wings they just do what they do. They were organized. And I remember saying to Hillary when my kids went to her concert, I asked her, how close to your show did you talk to us? And she said, I don't know. I went up a minute before it started. And I said, yeah, because you were ready. And I think that's a real problem with teams that are fragile. They need they need glue guys like Calvin. And these guys do a lot of cool things. A lot of people realize it's an unusual environment here. And these guys have built a great culture. They love each other. Like a lot of people don't realize they live literally 4 or 5 minutes away from each other. These guys are oftentimes on a nice day. They know the traffic on the, completely destroyed Stony Plain Road is sometimes a challenge to get to work. They all run to work together because they live 2 or 3 minutes from each other. If you're playing in New Jersey, you might be 50 minutes from your player. So when you interrupt a culture, like, you can't keep a player because he's a great guy and he's not performing, but you got to ask yourself, I think, more questions than they've asked themselves of the value of this particular player to this particular team. And, it's why guys get 2 or 3, it's why, some guys are signing these $3-4 million deals like Foligno in Chicago, because that's what they do is valuable. It's why, Corey Perry got a couple $1 million from Ken Holland. What he does is valuable. I mean, take Corey Perry and Calvin Pickard out of the lineup in the playoffs the last 2 years, and where are you? I don't like it.
Take a quick break. We'll come back more on the business sport. Jason Gregor, Ritch Winter here on Sports 1440, Oilers Nation, YouTube, Facebook, X, and Instagram.
There's a lot of great seasons in Alberta. Hockey season, harvest season, the winter season, and the even more winter season. But GS Construction is already preparing for our next great season, because while the city slows down, we plan ahead. Projects, people, and pipelines. Everything starts taking shape for another strong year underground. We're also getting ready for our next hiring season in March. We want new people who want to build something that lasts. For more on us and to apply, visit gsconstruction.ca.
Planning your next event? Let Loca Quality Market cater. From made-to-order meals to gourmet platters to full chef tasting experiences, they make entertaining effortless. Visit loca.ca to start planning today.
If you manage or lead a team, join your peers April 14th to 17th at the Banff Management Course. PA Douglas Training invites you to 3 days of immersive leadership development in beautiful Banff, Alberta. Learn how to manage conflict, motivate and influence others, strengthen teamwork, and improve productivity. Proudly Canadian, PA Douglas has trained over 150,000 professionals. Registration includes 3 nights at the Banff Springs Hotel, breakfast, select meals, refreshments, and course materials. Register now at padouglas.ca.
At On the Rocks, the party never stops.
Check it out.
Mondays, bingo tunes.
Tuesdays, tacos and tequila.
Wednesdays, it's wings and karaoke.
Shake what your mama gave ya with salsa lessons on Thursdays and the best Latin DJs.
Plus, live music every Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, along with DJ Kenny K.
Hold on, let's not forget $5 happy hour, 7 days a week.
Your bar, your party. You're On the Rocks.
On the Rocks.
Chat Brab and 118th.
Hey, hon, I'm getting expressions and images to frame my hockey card collection in the man cave.
Perfect. I'll come with you and bring our wedding photos. For sports memorabilia and family treasures, think Expressions and Images, your local custom framer since 91. You name it, we frame it.
Get ready to love your home, Canada. The Brick has the styles and the savings to make you fall head over heels. Save $1,100 on couches made for cuddling. Enjoy a romantic meal on a dining set up to 25% off. And yes, save 25% off in the bedroom, too. Plus, score up to $1,500 off the TV of your dreams. Love is in the air, and so are the savings. Only at The Brick. Some exclusions apply. Check out The Brick in South Common, West Edmonton Mall, North Side, and downtown.
Portions of this hour brought to you by On the Rocks. Team Canada finally back in action, and OTR is ready to be your hockey headquarters. $5.75 Molson Canadian, 69-cent wings, and play, score, and win every game. See more at ontherocksyeg.com.
The Jason Gregor Show, the best of Edmonton sports talk and beyond. This is Sports 1440.
Presented by PlayAlberta.ca, Alberta's only regulated online gambling website.
Port 22, we continue on. Jason Gregor, Ritch Winter, the business of sports here on Sports 1440. And Rich, it's kind of a unique season because there's a 3-week break, except if you're playing at the Olympics. Small percentage of players that are over there, of course, the 750, 800 players in the league. But for a lot of them, when they come back, there's either 4 or 5 games. It's basically, I guess you get back for practice. I could say, it's about 17 days. But, for those who come back from the Olympics later on, it's like 10 days. Most of those guys aren't getting traded. But, there's lots of players. I'm sure you have some guys who are pending UFAs, and, we're getting into trade deadline talk. So, as an because I know that I'll use Evander Kane. I know he's not your client, but they're like, hey, you know what? They've given Evander Kane's agent, say, hey, you can explore trade possibilities.
Yeah.
Like, have you been in a situation like that as an agent before? And does it, wouldn't the GMs know anyway? What's the benefit of having, quote, permission to try to facilitate a trade? What do you do as an agent in that regard?
Well, quite often, and most times, not all the time, we know the players better than they do. I mean, in fairness to them, they're watching 1,500 players. I always tell players, when we make these calls in these kind of situations, general manager X isn't lying in bed thinking about you. Now, he might be, but he may not. He may have some questions about character in this particular instance for obvious reasons, but he may have interest in learning about an injury. How bad is it? What are you thinking? And then they may just want to talk about next year in some cases. So, it's just having that personal contact. Like, we don't talk to each other as much as you would think. And you get on the phone for 15 minutes. I remember Stan, I got to get Stan on to tell this story sometime, because Michael Roosevelt wanted to follow in Marian Host's footsteps. He wanted to win. He'd made a lot of money. So he made the decision that he wanted me to pursue teams that we identified where he could win a cup. They were Chicago and Detroit at that time. And I worked all summer on Stan, showed him the statistics, went through all kinds of things. Finally, an hour, 2 hours before the market closed, when they had the lockout on September 15th that year, he phoned me and said, will you take $1.8 million? He said, my guys don't want to do it. I buy what you're selling. I agree with you. And he says to this day that remember when Duncan Keith got suspended for a game in the playoffs? They're in LA, 2-2. Rosie goes in and plays as good a game as they could imagine. I mean, Rosie scored 50 points in the league before. He's not he's a pretty good player. And he played the game of his life. Ken says, Stan said, without his performance that game, I don't think we win. And if we go back home down 3-2, I don't like our chances of winning that series. So there are times when we know more about the players than the scouts do. And sometimes it takes 3 or 4 calls or more. I must have talked Stan 30 times over the course of summer. Every time you see my number, I'm sure he was, wanting to throw the phone in the toilet. But eventually, you provide them with enough information. They don't necessarily understand them, and the same thing with Rosie was interesting, because in Phoenix the year before, I got a call from the defensive coach asking me if he thought Rosie still wanted to play in the NHL. Now, Rosie's a real quiet, understated guy, not a great skater, but if you want to hit someone with the biscuit from the goal line at the red line, Rosie's as good as anybody that's ever played. But, they run into all these biases, I think he's getting a little slow. Well, and he's quiet, so maybe he's slow and he doesn't care. And then they start thinking about it too much. So maybe these calls that we make interrupt that thought pattern. Yeah, I never thought. Rich mentioned this. Have we thought about that? Have we looked at that? These guys don't make the right decisions, or all those guys I just described wouldn't have 6 Vezinas and 2 MVPs. I mean, I had a guy who cleared waivers twice that these guys in this league could have had for $2,500, and a year later they would have had a 6-time Vezina Trophy winner, a 2-time league MVP. They don't know. In that case, it was that goofy style that Hasek kid had. He'll never be able to do it at the NHL level, but no different than Giordano, Norris Trophy winner, never drafted. Like, how did they miss him? And even I had lunch with breakfast with Bill Guerin the other day. I said, if you thought Kirill Kaprizov was as good as he was, would you have drafted him in the 5th round? I don't think so. This isn't an exact science. They're not that great at their job. They draft core players at the rate of 12.3%, which I don't know how anybody accepts that as or takes that as acceptable, but they don't have the information they need to make sound decisions. So our job is to try and give them information that might, Einstein used to say, you change the way you look at things and the things you look at change. And sometimes, yeah, maybe. Yeah. Okay. That's a good point. And
it's like a sales pitch a little bit to say, hey, I'm under, this is what my client does better than maybe you think. There are instances, I'm sure, where, now obviously salary cap factor comes into play, right? So You look and say, hey, you know what? Okay, well, this guy's carrying this much cap. Okay, the team that's holding him, he'll probably retain, because it's, that's just how it works in the salary cap era, especially for a pending UFA. When you have guys, though, that are, you don't have permission to seek, but will the GM come to you and say, okay, Rich, you know what? We're looking to trade your client. Does he tell you in advance, and do you tell the client, or do you hold off and not have them worry about it?
It's funny because so many times they'll say, well, don't say anything. But of course, I'm kind of bound by fiduciary obligations to actually tell them. I can't hold that back. But it's, they'll come to you. I have a pretty good relationship. I mean, it's funny, we keep seeing all these guys recycled. Well, they didn't have to recycle the agents. We just never left, and so we've all known each other, 20, 25 years. I think when all the dynamics changed was when they got the salary cap. Because in the old days, when an Esa Tikkanen wasn't signed, or, you knew they had more money, right? They'll give you wait long enough. They'll lose 5 games. Now, when a guy says, I got $2 million, Rich, you look on the Puckpedia and, he's got $2 million. So the dialogue became less contentious. And I think we'd be much more collaborative over time. And they'll usually give you a heads up. I talked to Stan 2 or 3 days, and he said, he wasn't really sure what he was doing. It was at the time when Ingram was a few days away from not having to be exposed to waivers. He wasn't, and I think in that particular case, it's still being decided day to day. But sometimes it's, the most interesting thing this year, I thought, at the trade deadline for me was I had a couple of guys who are sort of bubble guys, right? Both cleared waivers. Okay. And I phoned the GM because the guys, they cleared waivers, but they weren't eligible to have the whole break. Right.
Mm-hmm.
And both of them have young kids. And, so they're calling me to say, hey, where am I going? Right. And it was just interesting. In both cases, the GMs were saying, we can't send him down. We can't afford to get him hurt. With all the games coming, we played him 35 games this year. We're going to need him. He's not in our top 6, but he's our 7, and we don't like number 8. So I found it interesting this year that all the bubble kids got Bermuda and Hawaii vacations because the teams just didn't want to risk losing them in this this sort of compressed season. So that was good for the guys. It was it's a lot more fun to call them back and say, you're not going to Albany, you're going to Bermuda.
Right. Yeah.
But in that case, it was also interesting because Tom Fitzgerald, in that one particular case with Colton White, his view was I want to get him down there now and play the game now. He's still in good, he's not lost any conditioning. I don't want to risk him getting hurt. So they still had to play the one game. So I thought it made sense. Play now. The risk of getting hurt has got to be lower than playing, in 10 or 15 days. So, teams are trying to manage a very unique situation in this season in a different way they would normally. Otherwise, they just send him down and bury him,
Yeah. And what about preparing? I know this is a long ways away, but I'm kind of curious about arbitration.
Oh, yeah.
And because I'm sure you kind of have an idea for players on that. When do you start preparing your arbitration? Do you wait until, because I would assume you don't just wait till the team file, because if you're going to file, you're going to plan well ahead, right? You're starting, do you wait until right after the trade deadline? Because then you're okay, now my guys can't move pretty much. So I'm pretty much set. I focus on that. Or is it a year-long thing? How does arbitration preparation work?
Well, you don't really. Well, you start usually after the trade deadline, sometime after that. And what you'll do first is, there's Roland Lee at the Players Association, been there for a long time. He oversees, and that's his expertise. It's a narrow field in which he's an absolute genius in. And the first call is, Roland, what are you thinking? Because you see, it's not the way the arbitration process works. It's like putting your house on the market. You got to figure out what the comparables are. And so the way it starts generally is, first we've got to look at, who do we think's kind of going to be a comparable in this? And it starts with age of house, age, experience of player. Because you're not comparing a guy with 800 games, a guy with 200 games. So you go through that, and then you look at other filters for defensemen and forwards, ice time, points, time on ice defensively, offensively. And then you come up with a group of players that you look comparable. And then you go, oh my gosh, we got to get that guy out of there. That's horrible contract. What idiot did that one? So then you try and massage the sort a little bit so he's not included. Like maybe he played 202 games and the sort captured him because we went 25% games played career. So now we go 20% games played. Now we really like this sort, right? Now we go, okay, it's captured the guy at the top end. Now we know we're not getting the top end, but we'd rather have him giving us less than the top end than trying to get the arbitrator to see more than the bottom end. So you play around with it, but you've got to be somewhat consistent. You can't make any sense. You can't go like 50% above in ice time and 2% below. So you work through all of those things over the course of the next month or so. You get a pretty good feeling. Then you're talking to the teams and they're going through theirs. And of course, their lawyers have given them a different sort. So they're looking at the guy at the bottom and thinking we're going to get screwed with that guy. And then we work through all of that. And it's a process like no different than your house. And you come down to it, you get to arbitration day and say, well, okay, these houses were both built around the same time. So the same age, right? They all have the same features. Well, this guy has a nicer backyard. This one's got, well, this guy's smaller backyard, but remember he's got the pool and it's not an exact science. And I think the most fun I ever had at arbitration was in the Thomas Tatar filing, because the lawyer and I, Bernie and I have worked together a lot on a variety of different cases. And we went in and we made a gutsy call. We had about 4 players that were in our what we call the comparable list. And we just looked at it and went, Galchenyuk? Like they're twins, man. So we decided to go in the arbitration and we just said, Mr. Arbitrator, we can do this, almost as much as him, a little bit more than him. And here's a twin, man. Like, this is who he is. And if you looked at the stats, they were frighteningly identical. And ask Kenny about that arbitration sometime, because it's the only time he went. And we killed him. Like, we absolutely destroyed him. And the reason I know that is because we didn't have an agreement at the end of the arbitration. And when the arbitration was finished under the previous CBA, you could negotiate up until the time you got a decision. So I remember phoning Ken and saying, like, you want a deal because then you're going to be able to trade them if you have some term. We want a longer term deal, but we better hurry, man. Like, our arbitration was Thursday. This guy has an arbitration on Saturday. He's done a number of offensive players. He's not going home and doing his, taking 2 days. We could get this. We could get this in 24 hours. So I called Ken. We negotiated a deal, and we sent in the confirmation to the league and the PA that we have a deal. Problem was, the arbitrator sent the deal 5 to 10 minutes after we sent ours in. So they hadn't notified him yet that you're not supposed to do it. So in that one case, we actually knew what the arbitrator was going to decide. I think Ken asked for 3.1 and we asked for 4.2 and we got 4. So we know we killed them, which was good. But the other thing I do in arbitration, which I don't know of any other agent to do, because I want this process to be harmonious, right? Like, so what I do, I always, it surprises new GMs. I'll phone them up a couple days before arbitration. We filed their briefs. It looks like we're going to kill each other in 2 days. And I say, so talking to Thomas, you guys want to go for dinner night before the arbitration? Okay, sure, yeah, sure. And then I play a little game with the players. How long? Because we're not going to talk about the arbitration. How long will it take for the GM to bring up the arbitration? Or bring up the negotiation? Like, oh, you sure you don't want to do a deal? And Lou Lamoriello wins because he didn't bring it up until we were getting our cars at the valet. So that was pretty impressive. But, it's you try and manage these processes. And I think it's, people talk about, I don't want to go to arbitration. They'll beat you up. It doesn't really happen anymore. They now one time one of my clients got absolutely destroyed in a character assassination by a lawyer.
Which client?
Martin Straka.
Okay.
Bad character, not a leader. And in that time, we could renegotiate. I actually led to the change in the CBA that prevented a renegotiation, because I phoned Craig Patrick and said, Craig, I'm going to take that brief and what your lawyer just said about Martin Straka, who's like the Calvin Pickard of Pittsburgh at that time, the most loved guy, a sweetheart of a guy, and I'm just going to put that in the Pittsburgh Tribune. Craig, that arbitration decision wasn't decided on the facts. That was decided on a bull-faced, and Craig's a good guy, and he just went, and he'd offer us 4 times 4 the night before. We go see, we're all in the PA office doing the last minute preparation, right? Goodenhow comes in and says, where are you guys at? 4 times. Oh, that's ridiculous. Go to arbitration. Now, Marty's kind of a quiet, nice guy. And he goes, oh, I guess we're going then. He didn't want to go. So what we were able to do, because the rules were different, I went back to Craig and said, Craig, he's not going to be at camp unless we get the 4 times 4 back, because I'm not letting this young man get an arbitration award based on what your lawyer just did, which has unethical written all over it. And Craig said, fair deal. So he got 4 times 4.
So you went to arbitration, but you just went with the exact same deal you'd agreed upon before the arbitration hearing.
Yeah, the night before. So I had a little.
Because nowadays that wouldn't be allowed, right? Like nowadays, once you go to arbitration, once you sit in that room and it starts, you. Oh no, that's not true. You can still, even if you go through the arbitration rule, you have 24 hours.
No. So when I did the Straka deal, you could negotiate anytime. You could renegotiate your deals all the time. Remember, you could negotiate in the middle of the season. I remember when I got Ron Hextall declined, he had just signed a 6-year deal with Mr. Eagleson, and we renegotiated. But so in that case, you could, and then until recently, you could negotiate a deal up until the arbitrator's decision was in. Then they changed the rule. Now you got to have it done. You have to you can't negotiate after the briefs are submitted.
Oh, okay.
And that's why guys go, because they want. That's why settlement happens a little early, because that's a little nerve-wracking, right? Now, for you to sit back now, once you've heard our case, you've listened to the arbitrator's questions. Everybody feels like you hear about the Supreme Court in the United States. I listen to the argument. It seems like they're leaning this way. Well, you start to get that feel during an arbitration, and it makes it a little easier for maybe a team to move back to a number closer to where we are, because we did a great job, or they did a pretty good job. But before, it's like a coin flip. Like, you don't know what's in their brief. You don't know how they're going to, attack the whole argument. So I think it's a huge incentive to do a deal. I think we've only had one arbitration the last 3 or 4 years. Like, I don't remember anybody other than Trennan when he was with his previous agent go to arbitration.
Yeah, it's interesting because I've seen briefs from both sides, right, on players that say, okay, this is who we're going to bring up as who a comparable is, and then the other side brings up their guys, and sometimes there's usually one on each side, and so that guy kind of evens out because they both. Right.
Those are the ones the arbitrator pays the most attention to, because he goes, okay, if you agree that Gregor's a comparable for Connor Halley, okay, then you agree on that one, so he'll put more weight on that usually.
Yeah, so you try to probably avoid that unless it's the one that you really think's the best comparable. What I found though in some of the cases is how different, and you can find a certain number on either side that'll be like, okay, this is what I really find comparable, right? And obviously, as you said, you want to try to sell it in a way. You're selling it to the arbitrator as to why your client is as closely resembling, client A or player A, exhibit A in this case, right? That's essentially what you're doing.
But you're limited. Anybody can look this up if anybody has nothing else to do and they're interested in this stuff. You can actually look in the CBA online, and it tells you the criteria we can use. Like, we can't bring up news stories and all. It's got to be, it's ice time and takeaways and giveaways and games played and all that kind of games.
And it's really only the previous 2 years, right? Like the most recent year is
valid. No. You first you go with career, because obviously that sets the tone for the whole discussion. And then the last year becomes the most important. Yeah. We call it the platform year, right? You're jumping off into a new contract. And that particular year is important because it's the most recent indicator of his value. Now, we all know that sometimes it's maybe not a real indicate. Andrew Mangiapane got, 5.8 from his last deal that we did. And, had a great year. And sometimes you ought to be careful. This is where, we killed Calgary in that arbitration because they didn't do their homework. And so we looked at the goals scored. Now, this isn't something we can argue in arbitration, but Andrew scored 13 broken play goals the year he got 35. 13. Mm-hmm. Those generally aren't replicable. Look at the year that Pasternak, I think, got 48 or 50 or whatever he got. He got 17 broken play goals in that year. And then the next year it slips. You got to be incredibly aware of the type of goals your player scored. So I looked at that and went, well, let's get as long a term as you really feel you need to be comfortable, because this is a problem. It's not going to happen again. And it didn't. And, thank goodness they didn't do their homework. And we did. And Andrew took home $5.8 million.
Yeah. So 35 goals, 13 of them, or did you say, or 12 or broken?
13 broken plays. So he's really a 20 goal scorer.
Yeah. Well, yeah. And if you look at his career, that makes perfect sense. But they obviously didn't dive in deep enough to it. And broken play.
Maybe that's why they traded for Carlo and gave up a first-round pick and their best prospect. Sometimes they don't do their homework.
Yeah, it's very true. We'll come back, Ritch Winter. When we return, recruiting efforts for college players and others, it's entering that season. We'll get on that and how the agent discusses that with teams coming up next on the Gregor Show, presented by PlayAlberta.ca.
Hey, Edmonton, did you know a local Play Alberta winner scored over $500,000 on Mega Jackpots Ocean Bells? Think about the season tickets you could lock down with that kind of cash. From major casino winners every hour to jackpots worth millions and hundreds of popular games to money that stays in the province, there's never been a better time to sign up for Play Alberta. Download the app today to get started with casino, sports, and lottery all in one app. Must be 18 plus to play. When you gamble, use your game sense.
Need a new ride for road trips, errands, or just life on the go? Go Auto offers a massive selection with over 15,000 new and used vehicles to choose from. With over 70 locations across Western Canada, finding your next ride has never been easier. Whether it's a roomy SUV for the family, a sleek car for the open road, or a rugged truck for your weekend adventures, you'll find it here at a price you'll love. Explore thousands of vehicles today at goauto.ca.
Well, get ready for a silly hockey fans. Your partner in power just skated onto the ice.
EWEL.ca, the new e-commerce website for electrical wholesalers Edmonton, is ready for the power play 24/7, 365.
UL skates to where the puck will be in 5 years. Now that's forward thinking.
Killer selection, slamming products from the best brands, and legendary service.
Don't sit on the bench. Get your account today at EWEL.ca and win that project.
Plug into your partner in power. Get an EWEL.ca account today.
Mr. Reuter gets a colonoscopy.
All right, Mr. Reuter, just relax. We're almost finished.
Now, what am I looking at on the screen?
That's your large intestine.
Wow, the pipes of the human body. Incredible. This is just like when we use a camera for sewer inspection, except you probably don't find tree roots.
You'd be surprised what we find.
Once I found a bunch of Hot Wheels.
Hey, me too.
For a plumber who values healthy pipes, call Mr. Reuter.
McValue breakfast meals are $5 plus tax every day. Get a sausage McMuffin, bagel with cream cheese product, or breakfast burrito with hash brown and small coffee, all for just $5 plus taxes. Available until 11 a.m. at Canadian restaurants. Product availability varies. Prices exclude delivery.
At Fountain Tire, success is a team effort. They're committed to their team members and their customers. And that means treating your vehicle like it's their own and finding solutions that suit your needs. Because whatever the road brings ahead, they're on it with you. Visit fountaintire.com today.
Portions of this hour brought to you by Riverside Honda, 59 years and counting, a St. Albert and surrounding areas premier Honda and Can-Am dealer. It's your dream. Ride it at riversidehonda.com.
This is Sports 1440, where Edmonton talks sports.
On YouTube, Facebook, and X.
Here's Jason Gregor.
Brought to you by PlayAlberta.ca.
.46, welcome back. Jason Gregor, Sports 1440, sports1440.ca, YouTube, Facebook, X, and Instagram. We continue on the business of sports with Ritch Winter. And Rich, of course, you look at the recruiting time is up now. For whether it's, teams and trades, but more so, recruiting lots of NCAA free agents, and you've had lots of them over the years. And now, for me personally, I have argued that one of the more overrated prospects in hockey has become the UFA college play, and good for them. But teams will trip over him. They'll give him a, hey, we'll give you a contract. You play one game, you burn your year of eligibility, then you go back in. And I get why the theory that they think that's great. Sometimes I look and say, yeah, but you're only getting one game of actual salary for that year. And then, like, there's no guarantee that you're going to get another big raise afterwards. Sometimes maybe taking a 2-year deal can be better, and it varies from player to player. So what you find do you talk to the players? Because I get why everybody always thinks best case scenario. You know what? I'm going to get this burnt out so I can play a good rookie year, and then I'm going to get a better contract the next year. But when I look at it historically, there's not a lot of guys that really hit it big that first year because the NHL is very, very difficult. So how do you approach it? Is it always best to burn the year, or sometimes, because we see some guys do it and some guys don't?
Well, yeah, I guess it's more strategic than that in my mind. I know other agents seem to be focused on that burn. I'm focused on trying. Trivia question: which were the only two locally born brothers that played on the same NHL team in Canada? And then I'll tell you the story that relates to this. From Edmonton? No, who are the Canadian-born players, born and raised in an NHL city that both played with their hometown team?
Oh, geez, I have no idea. Who? Mike
and Paul Comrie.
Okay.
But that leads into this story because Paul was a late pick, and to me, there's two things that are really important. There, got a young man at Denver, not sure what the pace of the game is, but more importantly, he doesn't know what he's competing against. So in that particular case, we signed an AHL tryout contract because I made the case to Paul that if he plays in Hamilton back then, and sees who the competition is, like who are you fighting for a job with next year? What do you have to beat? That gave him a look. I think he played 8 or 10 games. I have to go back and look. And he made the orders. It was a 7th round pick. Now, he would have had a career. He might have been the best Comrie, speedy, skilled, but then he got that concussion fairly early. But he made the team out of training camp. So I'll look at, we have Ellis Rickwood this year, a young man that played in Clarkson last year. I don't particularly like the portal, but in this case, we felt it was important for him to get to a better conference, and he's playing for North Dakota, more than a point a game, and the interest level is very high. He's a 6'2", 200-pound centerman. Yeah, we'll care about the one game because why wouldn't you? Because not only does it get you out of your deal, it gets you 1 year closer to someone else deciding your contract in arbitration. So it's valuable, but if that's what you're focused on, that's crazy. You've got to focus on. And we've talked to a couple teams in Ellis's case. They think they're not thinking about the one game. They think he can play maybe for them right now. Okay. How many 200-pound centermen that are more than a point a game in North Dakota are there available? So he's a late bloomer. So a lot of the work is done. A lot of the work we had to make, my partner Todd handled that, but Todd and Ellis had to make the decision to make the move to Clarkson last year, right? Last fall. And that's probably the decision that's more important, as important as the one we make today. So, yeah, I'm like you. I don't get the Bernie. I get the Bernie year, but not in a bad spot. It's not the most important thing, but it's important. But at the end of the day, but it's the same as everybody overpays in free agency. It doesn't matter if it's on July 1st or it's college free agents because, it's a natural. If you study behavioral science, it's a natural. Daniel Kahneman wrote a phenomenal book, the treatise, really. He and Amos Tversky won the Nobel Prize for economics, two psychologists. But people are more fearful. They react more to things that are cause them fear or pain than they do with pleasure and satisfaction. So in those cases, it's like free agents. They just don't want to lose them. Hey, Jason, let me tell you, I'm not going to pick up the phone and talk to Pittsburgh if you'll do this. Yeah. Oh, geez, the guy's going, hey, you got the guys in the room. Guys, we got them if we can just do this. Oh, we can't do that. The owner's going to kill us. And they do it. because it's just that fear. So, we're pretty good at playing off of that because maybe Pittsburgh wasn't even calling, right? But that's the nightmare in free agency. I always tell people there's three kinds of robberies that could potentially occur outside of a bar or in this particular case. If a guy has a gun and asks for your wallet, you give it to him, right? Yeah. No questions asked. If the bouncer tell you got some nutcase out there, he waves his plastic gun around, just ignore him. We've had him here for years. He's a little off center. You don't give him your wallet, right? But if the guy says, I'm not sure if that guy has a real gun, or a plastic gun, well, you still give him your wallet. And so you never have to actually shoot anybody or bring a real gun to the table or have an option. They just have to think you do. Now,
Yeah.
every general manager who ever listens to this show now is going to call my bluff probably for the next 5 years. So that probably wasn't a very good move, but it's really true. And because they just don't know. It's a nightmare. You go into free agency and think you're going to have 5 teams, and you get to like 3 in the afternoon, you get really none. And then somebody calls on a player, you go, oh my gosh, I can't believe we're getting 5.6. I mean, I thought we were going to go jobless. So it is, you have to learn to play your cards as effectively as you can. I think one thing that people won't think, I always say this all the time, GMs have said to me many times, oh, you guys always want your players overpaid. I go, no. I never want my player overpaid. Never. Because I think there's a range for a player that's reasonable.
Yeah.
Where it's a little high, but we're not thinking of trading him. Kids aren't getting beat up at school because his dad makes too money. He's not contributing. And then if it's the lower end, it's a little low, but I'm not getting fired. Like if you're in that range, I want to be the upper end of that range, but you're in that range, yeah, everybody's pretty happy. Believe me, the most disappointed, frustrated players I've ever represented were making too much money. Fans were all over them. I think Brizgalov's life was fun when he got that $10 million a year deal in Philadelphia. Now he's pretty happy after they bought him out, and he made $40 million for 2 years. So that was kind of a nice pill to take to calm the problem. But it's, they're very unhappy if they're underpaid and will usually get fired. So you don't hear much about that. But it's a very difficult problem for a guy who has a lot of pride to be exposed to the abuse that you get when you're overpaid. It's not fun.
Yeah. Oh, but I know. And you've mentioned that, and I would agree wholeheartedly with it. The problem is, and I know that, hey, players aren't going to turn it down. If someone really wants to overpay you, what are you going to do as an agent? You know what? I think you should take less long term. Now, I know that Marian Hossa did it for 1 year, and that's fine. But that was
different reasons. But if some people believe me, but then
and it was only 1 year deal, right? Because he's an elite player, and he knew he was going to get a big term. Some of these guys, if you're a mid-tier guy and someone wants to overpay you, you're like, dude, this is life-altering money, so I'm going to take it. And then you hope to think that you can perform to it, but obviously there's lots of times where it doesn't. And I think that is a good point. Now, you mentioned something there, Rich, that we haven't touched on. We only have a few minutes left, but the fact that you have lots of now WCHL players, and they go to college, and you have it's basically free agency every year now in NCAA. Yeah. That's what it's become, right? I don't think it's great, to be honest, for the sport or for the players, really, because you might be in a good situation. Your guy thinks he's a good situation. Then the portal opens up, and suddenly, you're at Penn State, and now they go out and grab 2 other guys, and suddenly your guy who is a second liner is now a third liner. Is like, what the hell? So how can you count, like, when that portal's open, will you know if one of your players is going to get squeezed out and then he has chance to react, or not really?
Not really, no. But I think, that's a challenge. The thing that's been a lot more fun than I ever thought it would be. I had a young man and Russian player in Calgary a couple of years ago, Max Mironov. Pretty good player, like good speed, plays hard. And the call I made to him and said, so Max, would you like to go to college? I've got a full ride for you. It's a small university. I think it's probably pretty good for you. Niagara University. It's near Niagara Falls by Toronto there. And, what's the scholarship? Like, he had no idea. And the craziest thing is Jason, he's there. I think he was their leading scorer till he got a little bit of a ding, but he's right up there. He's playing great. And he's at the top of his class, having taken school in Russia and never took much of anything here while he was here. And I couldn't believe it. I've had so much fun. He's a wonderful young guy. And I asked him what he's taken, like Phys Ed 101, like, what are you taking? Chemistry, biology, math, calculus. I'm going, I would have intimidated the daylights out of me when I was his age. But it's been interesting to see. So we've got young Finney there from the Oil Kings playing with Max. And so it's just a whole different world. And I think it's been interesting because it's terrible. The portal's terrible in so many ways. There's no loyalty at all anymore. It sucks. But there's been a lot of interesting opportunities for people that wouldn't have got it. Now, Max ends up playing in the NHL, possible. That's great. But if he comes out of there with a North American university degree and ultimately things settle down in Russia, he's going to be a very valuable guy to an American oil company, when they come over, and I'm sure the alumni will take care of that. So it's been really, really, really interesting. Even as old billets told me the other day, because they're friends with my daughter, they said, And I couldn't believe it. Max is even doing all those courses, and he's reading an extra book for pleasure. So there's just been a lot of human interest things that have grown out of this that we don't think about, that are, they're satisfying to me, especially because I love this guy. He's just a wonderful young man, and his life is going to be changed because of the change in the role.
Yeah, that's true. Awesome stuff, Rich. It's always good to have just kind of the business side of hockey. We got a lot of text people, stuff they're learning.
Next week is going to be a big one. I'm really excited about having Matthew Darch and getting to know. I know Matthew very, very well. I think when listeners get to know him, there's a reason why that team, I think, is going to take off. He's a really, really capable guy, and he's doing some really cool things there.
Oh, buddy, they're playing really well. Yeah, so that'll be awesome. So, yes, we look forward to that next Wednesday. Stay warm, Rich. Enjoy, and we will chat with you next Wednesday on the Business.
Good weekend, everybody.
There you go. That's Ritch Winter joins us every Wednesday in the 4 o'clock hour. Hope you're having a lovely day. We will get to Connor Halley in a Sports 1440 update. We got Spec coming up afterwards, and more. We'll update you on a busy day in the Olympics as we get to the Con Man Sports 1440 update, brought to you by Northgate Chevrolet Buick GMC. Where, you know what? Mike and his gang, they prefer no pressure. They're not going to come in. You're not going to win a trip. You just want a good vehicle. You don't need a trip. You want a good vehicle with no pressure. NorthgateGM.com.
The Sports 1440 update.
Winter Games action continuing in Italy. Canada has its fourth medal of the games. Figure skaters Piper Gillis and Paul Poirier capturing the bronze in the ice dance Wednesday afternoon. At the curling, Brad Jacobs got the Canadians men's to extend a 6 win over Germany. Rachel Homan's ring scheduled to play tomorrow morning against Denmark. And the men's ice hockey tournament getting going. Slovakia surprising Finland 4-1. Despite a great effort from the Italians, Sweden victorious, winning 5-1. Canada gets going tomorrow morning, 8:40, taking on the Czechs. On this side of the Atlantic, the Oil Kings hosting Everett at 7 in the BCHL. You got Crusaders hosting Brooks, and in the association, Raptors up against the Pistons. Tip-off 5:30. Elsewhere, Bucks take on the Magic. Celtics host the Bulls. Clippers in Houston. The Thunder taking on the Suns, and the Nuggets host the Grizz. Coming up in hour 4 of the Jason Gregor Show, we'll be joined by Mark Spector of Rogers Sportsnet and discuss the Carolina Hurricanes with analyst Shane Willis. I'm Connor Halley. This has been a Sports 1440 update.
Sports 1440 in West Edmonton Mall and Wetaskiwin. CKJR is a Stingray radio station.
Download the free radio player app and listen wherever you go.
Hey, sports fans, we've got a clear choice for you. At Crystal Glass, we provide customers with the perfect glass for any job. From home to auto and even commercial, installation or repairs, we're your team. Call 310 Glass or visit crystalglass.ca. Crystal Glass.
Get ready to love your home, Canada. The Brick has the styles and the savings to make you fall head over heels. Save $1,100 on couches made for cuddling. Enjoy a romantic meal in the dining set up to 25% off. And yes, save 25% off in the bedroom, too. Plus, score up to $1,500 off the TV of your dreams. Love is in the air, and so are the savings. Only at the Brick. Some exclusions apply. Check out the Brick in South Common, West Ed Mall, Northside, and downtown.
No fluff, no fillers, just pure entertainment. Sports 1440 brings the heat with bold opinions, big personalities, and Edmonton's fiercest fans. This is your turf. This is Edmonton's sports leader, Sports 1440.
Remember 2025? That's so last year. But seriously, St. Albert Dodge needs to clear some 2025 models off the lot to make room for new inventory. So they're having a huge clear out of all the remaining new 2025 Jeep Wrangler Saharas. The Sahara package is the best seller, so they have a great selection to choose from and priced from as low as $59.9. I don't have to tell you, these are going to go fast. So get there before they are gone. Just head up the trail and see how easy it is to do business at St. Albert Dodge.
Ooh, girl, the way you touch that thermostat, it really turns me on. Like a heat exchanger, sensual phenomenon. Wanna play your favorite song when we turn the heating on like a legacy of love.
Legacy Heating and Cooling keeps your Valentine sizzling hot. You can afford to shower your Valentine with affection because Legacy offers no payments and no interest for 1 year on your new furnace. And that's how you build your legacy of love. Legacy Heating and Cooling.
You wanted local sports on weekends. Saturday mornings at 9, check out the Saturday Sports Setup, where we'll tee up what's happening on the weekend sports scene. Tune in Saturday morning at 9 on Sports 1440.
Sports here on Sport. Instagram.
Portions of this hour brought to you by Japa Machinery. Did you know that Japa offers in-house and on-site service? Rain or shine, Japa Service Department is here for you. Get a quote now at japamachinery.com.
This is Sports 1440, where Edmonton talks sports.
On YouTube, Facebook, and X.
Here's Jason Gregor.
Brought to you by playalberta.ca.
Such a good tune, man. Classic, timeless, holds up in air, man. You put that tune on, I don't care who you are, I don't care what type of music you like. There's no way you can't think that is a good song. 833-401-1440, 833-401-1440. I hope you are having a lovely afternoon. Canada, another medal today. Up to 4 now. And we got a few more. Tomorrow could be a real big day for Canada, Kingsbury, and a few others on the ski hill. And so hopefully, some short track speed skating coming up as well. So hopefully get that elusive gold medal first soon. Be nice. But 1 silver, 3 bronze thus far for Team Canada. Is the Gregor Show is always presented by playalberta.ca. And hey, you could win. Not a medal, but the lottery, 649 to be exact, $28 million. No one won Lotto Max yesterday, so Friday's draw is now up to $50 million at playalberta.ca. Jason Gregor, Connor Halley with you as it's time for Le Spec Report, brought to you by GS Construction. Wow, they don't speak a lot of French, but they got a lot of East Coasters. Great Newfoundlandese out there by them at GS. Some of the most down-to-earth people. You want to work for a fantastic company? That is the place to work. If you like to have not just a job, but a career, or lots of opportunity to advance up the ladder at GS Construction. As Mark Spector from Rogers Sportsnet joins us. Spec, good afternoon. How you doing?
Good, man. I kept thinking today, can't Andrew Mangiapane qualify for the Italian Olympic team? How's that work?
It's a really good question. I don't know. I don't know what the rules for that would be or not, and how you and what you'd have to do to what generation, right? How far, how many generations removed? I have no idea.
Yeah,
right?
They had a couple of sort of North American names on the backs of their sweaters over there. I thought they'd be
Bradley, yeah,
Bradley. There you go. He's playing. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm just saying, probably could have used a little help. They pretty game Italian team today, though. You got to give them credit.
Well, their goalie was unreal for sure, and you know what, made some huge. Hey, they scored first, man. The place went bananas.
Yeah,
and
right.
That might be their only lead of the whole tournament, but then they got it tied again at 2. And hey, they kept it closer than a lot of people thought. They got outshot a lot. Obviously, Sweden had a lot of territorial advantage, and the Italian goalie made some massive saves. And obviously, they got more skill on Sweden, right? Like they just do. Like Italy is not a hockey country. right? There's not. And Canada's closed the gap in soccer much more than Italy has closed the gap in hockey. I think that's fair to say. But I look at it. It was fine. Hey, the Slovakia game was the more interesting one. They had obviously more NHL players. Italy had no NHL players. No one thought they were going to win. But the Slovaks, Slafkovsky played great. Their AHL goalie who doesn't dominate in the AHL by any stretch, played really well for Slovakia. And the Finns, hey, maybe they'll be like Florida. Without Barkov, the Finns just aren't the same.
Maybe. I don't know. It's not like it was a last minute thing. They've known they weren't going to have Barkov the whole time, but you know what? The Slovaks have taken a step. Like this goalie, again, here's a guy with an 885 in the AHL. He's Minnesota property. I guess I would wonder, like the words on the street that Billy Guerin's ready to trade Wallstead. And, he wants a real good player for Wallstead. He wants to take a run at a Stanley Cup like this season in Minnesota. And he should, right? And he should. And I wonder if having this guy in the minors makes you even feel a little bit better if you trade Wallstead. I mean, I don't know. He's an 885 goalie in the AHL, but he sure played well today. Could this guy be an NHL backup? What do you think?
Dude, it's one game. Like I look at it, it's one game. And so I'm not gonna be like, oh my God, Samuel. I don't even know how to say his last name correctly, so I don't want to butcher it. But you look at him and Cal Peterson's the other guy. They're kind of splitting duties. They've each played 18 games. Peterson has a 277 goals against. This guy's got a 3.33 and he's got an 8.84 goals against. Cal Peterson, who was in the NHL for a while, and he's at 899. So I wouldn't be trading. If he's going to trade the goalie, I don't think it because he thinks he has his backup of the future based on one game at the Olympics.
Yeah, no, fair enough. I mean, I guess if this guy turns into a player is what I'm thinking. He's not that old. I had him on Hockey DB here. He's 24. That's very young for a goalie, right? 24 is young for a goalie. But as somebody tweeted today, I don't know who it was, it's sort of the essence of the Olympics that some Slovak goalie comes out and has this great Olympics, and then we never hear about him the rest again, ever. So maybe this guy is just another one of those. Who knows?
Oh, God. Yeah, there's tons of those guys. We were talking about it earlier. I remember some World Junior goalies, and they stand on their head, and everyone's like, oh, my God, this guy's going to be great. And then I'm like, it's the World Juniors.
Who was the little Ukrainian guy? Who was the little Ukrainian guy in Edmonton? What was his name?
Ukrainian in Edmonton?
Yeah, there's a Ukrainian guy in Edmonton years ago, Edmonton Red Deer or something. And he was fantastic, and we all fell in love with him. So much so that I can't remember his name. And he never played. He was great.
Well, okay. He was playing for Ukraine?
I'm pretty sure. Yeah, I'm pretty sure he's Ukrainian.
I know
it's Ukrainian in the World Juniors.
Yeah, it wasn't at the World Juniors, I can tell you. It was Belarusian, maybe? Or, I don't
know. Ask your listeners. Someone will come up with the guy's name. He wasn't Russian.
It wasn't Russian.
Sure I felt
Danish.
Like
was it Dane? Maybe Denmark. Because I don't think Ukraine's ever played in the Division I World Juniors, have they?
I'm thinking that.
Yeah,
I don't know. Let's keep going. One of your listeners will tell us before we're done.
Yeah. Well, you sure it's not Latvian spec?
No, I would remember that.
Well, I would think you would, but you never know.
They're getting ready to start their tour de force tomorrow, I believe. Against the U.S. That'll be the next biggest upset.
Oh, buddy. Geez, you'd be all over that. That would be some people are texting me. Was it Murasek? I don't know. I have no idea. I'd have to look it up. But anyway, yeah, I'm not gonna hold my breath over one game. I think it's a great one game, and that's what it is. And that's what's great about the tournament. In one game, anything can happen. The Slovaks fans went crazy. They played well. Tomorrow, Canada takes on Czechia. And, they haven't said for sure, but it sure looks like Binnington's going to start the game spec. But it's more so I look at Canada, and outside of Pasternak, I don't think there's anybody on the Czechia roster that would make the Canadian team. And that includes Marty Natchez. I'm not sold in Marty. If Zach Kaiman doesn't make it, I don't see why Marty Natchez would make it. But I look at them just top to bottom. Like, if you can look at their top line and say, hey, their top line's pretty good. Okay, I'll agree with that. I'd give Canada a slight advantage, but it's not major. But after that, every defense pair, every line is a big advantage for Canada.
Yeah, they're a way better team. They have Tomaszek on that team, right?
He's on there. Yeah, he looks like he's on their third line.
Okay, that's awesome. It'd be fun to see him play. Good for him. We all kind of liked him. I'm happy to see him at the Olympics. But let's face it, there's only, am I going to say US, Sweden, and let's count Finland, where Canada, they look at Canada, not even Finland. Come on. Canada's so much better. Canada's third line has Sid Crosby as its centerman, for Pete's sakes. Like, who can look at Canada and say we can match up line for line? I guess the US can say that. And I suppose Sweden can, but you better be stretching it a little bit. It's just the way it is. We got, I'm not telling you I think they'll win. I'm not telling you we're always going to be the best hockey country, but I am telling you 20 deep or 25 deep, we got the 25 best players most years. And until that changes, I'm going to keep saying it.
Oh God. Yeah. I look at, Canada should be the favorite. I don't think there's any doubt about that. And, listening to Connor McDavid and I even talked to him about it. Like, this is a big deal for like this generation of players. Like, the Olympics was something that Canadians, like for European players, the Olympics at times was more important than the Stanley Cup, because that's what you shot for, right? The World Championships meant a lot. This generation of players, Sidney Crosby was 10 when the NHL first went to the Olympics in 1998. Now, they didn't win. They lost in the semifinal to the Czechs, and they actually lost the bronze medal game to Finland. But
yeah,
he's 10 years old. And then when Crosby and Doughty won in 2010, Connor McDavid was 13 years of age, right? And then there's other guys that are a little bit younger than him, but other guys similar age to him. They're all kind of in that wheelhouse of like, okay, I remember watching 2010. Of course, Doughty and Crosby, their teammates, but this will be as much of a big deal to Canadians as it is to the Europeans now. And I expect Canada to come out tomorrow, Spec, with almost the same energy of like, man, this is how you felt as a rookie. Like, this is your dream come true. You made it. Now you're going to get to play in the Olympics. I think tomorrow there'll be a lot of, a lot of emotion. I expect Canada to be fired up.
Oh, for sure. I mean, especially having missed 2 Olympic cycles and, basically a guy like a McDavid who's never played in the Olympics, right? Dave was still 29, right? Or did he just turn 30? Or he just turned 29. Draisaitl's 30. My point is he's almost 30 and he hasn't played in the Olympics yet. So, yeah, they're. That's why I have, it would be fun if the Czechs can make it a game tomorrow. And you know what? Maybe I'll be eating my words 24 hours from now, but with that Canadian team rolling 4 lines at you and 3 pairs of defensemen, and everybody is absolutely at a moment in their career that they've been looking forward to for, at least 8 or 10 years. Oh boy. What did Brizgalov say? It's like when you let the gorilla out of the cage. That's what it's going to be like when Mr. Universe faced the Team Canada that time.
No, that's very true. I'm looking at a few other things around the Olympics. You saw the I don't know if you're a big figure skater or not, but the ice dance routine today to get on the podium, and they have their personal best, like they probably the greatest performance of their life, and that gets you on a podium. And I think at that point it doesn't matter what the medal is. Like, I tell you right now, you'd much rather finish 3rd than 4th, no question about that. And in any sport, and I think when you have your best performance, you got to be proud. You're not like, oh, I wish I would have been better. You're like, no, we just had our best. That's the best we can do at this stage of our career. That is a monumental success story, I think.
Oh, absolutely. Like, that's, you go to these things, athletes have always, told us, you go to these things and you want to meet the moment. You want to be at the biggest moment in your career. You want to lay down your best performance, your best skate, make your best curling shots, play your best hockey game, whatever it is, right? So sometimes you lay down your best skate and you finish 5th, and you have to say, you know what? I just skated the best skate of my life, and it was only good for 5th today, but you know what? What are you supposed to do? I just did the best skate of my life. Am I supposed to do better than that? So sure, absolutely. I mean, first of all, any Olympic medal you got to be awfully proud of. 3rd best in the world is, I can't say I'm 3rd best in the world at anything. I don't know if you can. So people who say, oh, it's a failure because it's bronze, well, have never been there and they don't have a clue. But yeah, my hat's off to you. If you tell me that I didn't see it, if you tell me those kids went there and had the best performance of their life at the biggest moment, that means they showed up and all that training, they met it at the intersection of preparedness and opportunity, and they shot it out of the park, and good for them.
Yeah, no, it was an awesome performance for sure. Like, I'm no ice dance expert by any stretch of the imagination, but yeah, I can see skill when you watch it. Just like, oh
yeah.
And I just love the reaction. Like, they were so fired up when the performance ended. Like, when you play well, like, when you do something good. So they're fired up. And then when the judges' scores come, that they're going wild. I love that part. Well, they knew back right then that they're guaranteed at least bronze because there's the two leading teams left. And for anybody watching, I would recommend to watch that with your kids. I think at times, like just seeing pure enjoyment for putting in a lot of hard work and that reward, I think there's a lot to be learned from something like that. Like we see the end result. We don't see the hundreds and thousands of hours that are put in, practicing in a rink when no one's around watching, because you love it and that's awesome. But being able to show that emotion at the right time, I think is fantastic.
I could never figure out how they listen to the same song for 6 months straight. Like, they don't just listen to that song in their performance. They practice and listen to that song hundreds and hundreds of times. I'd want to take that CD and chuck it as far as I could after about 2 weeks.
Well, you know what? Like, I think if you like your performance, you probably are just like, well, this song gets me in a good frame,
guess.
Right? Like, you think about what's your favorite song whenever it comes on the radio. Are you ever not in a good mood instantly?
Yeah, but if I listen to it 14 times a day, every single day for 6 months.
Yeah, well, I don't know if they
hate it.
It's a good question if they train the whole time to the whole song. That is a good question. I know that they do it. You have to at certain times because you're hitting points of the song, knowing where you're supposed to be.
To the song, right? Man. I've covered figure skating. They play that song over and over and over.
It's just basically like a top 40 radio station is all it is. How many times you tune into one of those things, and every second hour it's the same song? I'm like,
it's like the spec report, same BS every day, over and over.
That is true. Actually, that's very true. There's a lot of BS coming out of there for sure. We've had a few texts coming in interested about the order spec, and hey, lots of rumors get started online, and I'm like, okay, how realistic are they? The latest one I've seen because we've had a lot of texts. Hey guys, what are you hearing about Oliver Ekman-Larsson? Well, hey, Oliver Ekman-Larsson, first of all, he's a left shot defenseman. Why would the Oilers be acquiring? I don't even care if he can play the right side. He's a left shot defenseman, man. Like, I'm not really buying that because they've got a ton of lefties. If they're getting a defenseman, it's got to be a right shot defenseman.
I would think, the market sometimes dictates that, right? I guess I'd throw it back at you. What if I could get Oliver Ekman-Larsson has
I've always thought he was good. Guess what? He went to Vancouver and he wasn't good. Geez, how many other guys have done that? But anyway.
Right. He's turned back into a very good defenseman.
Mm-hmm.
And on a team that's not great in Toronto, like, the better the team, the better the player. So I guess my point to you would be, if all you can find is a right shot guy who's 80% as good as Ekman-Larsson, what are you going to do?
Well, here's my question though. If I've got if I get Larson, so now I'm playing him, so I'm knocking out Ty Emberson. Now I'm going to go with 5 lefties. Like, is Ty Emberson really the problem on the Oilers team as your third pair right defenseman? I don't see Ty Emberson, all of his numbers are really good. You're looking to improve your second pair right defense. So if you do that, then are you going to move Jake Wallman to the third pair and Stastny comes out? I guess in theory, you could do that.
Probably
right?
what I do is I play Nurse and Ekman-Larsson together on the second pair.
Okay. I just have to look and say, like, I'd have to see how many minutes is Ekman-Larsson playing on the right side this year. That would be the first thing I'm looking up, because there is a difference for guys playing lefty righty. I know people say, you should be able to do it, but there's a significant difference for some guys. And if the number one thing for coaching, put players in positions to succeed. Don't ask them to do things they're not really capable of. Right now, I noticed he's played with Morgan Riley about 300 minutes. So they're both lefties. So maybe he's the guy playing on the right side. And then after that, he plays with Jake McCabe. and Simon Benoit. So he obviously can play the right side. I don't know. I would look to I will look to see who who are right shot guys, because unless you have a lefty who's super good at it, I'm not doing it. Because Jake Walton can play the right side, and he's done it lots. But is he better as a lefty? Yes.
Is he super good at it? Kulak could play the right side. I don't think we ever thought he was super good at it. So
yeah, he was. Kulak preferred he rarely played the right side. He wasn't very good.
Yeah, he did sometimes. He didn't love it. So my point is that sometimes every trade deadline is a mixture of what you go in there seeking and what the market has available. And then what the other GM wants to, maybe you got a GM in Toronto who, I don't know, I'm just going to maybe he'll take a Mangiapane and make a trade happen, among other things. Maybe the guy who's trading the righty says, I'm not touching Mangiapane. Well, then I know I'm probably going to make that trade with Toronto, even though I would rather have the righty. So, sure, in the ideal perfect world, you get a guy that's as good or better than Ekman Larsson as the right shot D-man. But like I say, what if the next best D-man that you think you can get is 75, 80% as good as Ekman Larsson? Well, now I'm not so sure what way I want to go. Or now it starts to go on how much do I have to give up to acquire the player. So it's easy to tell Bowman what to do, but unless you're in on those, those conversations get pretty complicated. And then throw all the cap stuff in there. There's some deals you want to make, you just can't make.
Yeah, no, that's fair. Now, the one advantage to Oliver Ekman-Larsson is he's a $3.5 million player. He's got this year and next year. So to me, if you're moving out Larsson, or you're trading him, because you got all these other guys, you would have to move out a bigger ticket, right? Is what I'm thinking. So that's because he's not just a pure rental. He's got 2 years left, which is great. But then you've got Wallman and you got Oliver Ekman-Larsson and you have Nurse and you have Ekholm. Now, maybe you're doing it because you're like, well, then I'll move someone else in the summertime. Okay, maybe. But it's not like a rental, right? Like it seems to be more of a bigger issue. And, heck, maybe you play, like the other thing is like Nurse just has to play better. I don't care who his partner is. When they come back, he's another guy. He has to play better.
Oh, you can't, listen, one of the things you sign up for when you sign a big ticket like Nurse has, and when you're a leader on a team and a veteran player, is it's not all about finding guys to make you better. Your job is to make everybody else better, right? Nurse's job is to take some guy and make him better and play at the top level. This searching the world of hockey high and low for someone who can get Nurse up to being a better player. No. Nurse should get Nurse to be a better player, right? And he should also make his partner a better player. That's what he's getting paid to do. So I'm with you all the way, man. It's someone else's fault that Nurse isn't playing very good. It's Darnell Nurse's problem and responsibility to figure it out and play better if this team's going to win. Full stop.
Yeah, very true. Spec, was the goalie you were thinking about, because Ukraine did play in the World Juniors back in Red Deer and Edmonton in 1995. Are you thinking Igor Karpenko?
That's the guy, Igor Karpenko. He was fantastic, and he never played anywhere. Igor Karpenko, man, come on.
Yeah. Well, I'm looking at like he allowed 42 goals in 7 games.
Dude, he's playing for Ukraine against Russia and Canada and America. What do you think? He stood on his head. He let in 6.
Oh yeah. No, that's very, very fair. I'm looking at I'm looking at his shots. He averaged 39 shots against per game. So probably a few good scoring chances. Igor Karpenko.
Yeah, they fell in love with him here because we got so many Ukrainians. They were coming out and cheering for the Ukrainian team, and they were the underdog, and this little Karpenko kept them in all these games, and he was a great story. There you go.
Now, Vance in LA did have a good he tweeted a good one. He goes, hey, guys.
Vance in LA, is he still around?
Jim Craig is why you don't sign world tournament goalies that have a great series. Very good point.
Oh, boy.
Very
there you go.
Point.
Jim Craig, didn't Gretzky make mincemeat out of Jimmy Craig one night?
Well, he wouldn't be the only goalie who got mincemeat. That's for sure. The better question is, who didn't? Right? Who didn't?
Yeah, there you go. It's Miracle on Ice. I guess there is a statute of limitations for the old Miracle on Ice, eh?
Yeah. Hey, Spec, I found a little trivia question for you. The goalie who has faced the most shots and never allowed a goal against Alex Ovechkin. And I'll tell you right now, you know what the shot total is? 19. That's the most shots a goalie has faced in his career again from Ovechkin, where Ovechkin didn't score on him. And the answer is Vanacek. He's taken 19 Ovi shots and never been scored on. That'll be his claim to fame. If I was him, I'd be telling everyone, Ovi never beat me. Best shooter in the game didn't beat me.
Didn't Ovi send all those goalies a beer or something at some point?
Yes, he did.
Yeah, so Vanacek's going thirsty.
Yeah. Spec, we will chat tomorrow. We'll see what Canada does in some of the other games. 4 games tomorrow in hockey, so it'll be fun.
I'm pumped, man. I'm out at the lake. Me and Wrigley are going to be watching hockey all day tomorrow.
All right.
Don't plug us.
We won't bug you till the game's over. Don't you worry.
Sounds good, man.
Quick break. We'll come back. Shane Willis will join us speaking goaltending, some trade options and more on the Gregor Show presented by PlayAlberta.ca.
Hey, Edmonton, did you know a local Play Alberta winner scored over $500,000 on Mega Jackpots Ocean Bells? Think about the season tickets you could lock down with that kind of cash. From major casino winners every hour to jackpots worth millions and hundreds of popular games to money that stays in the province, there's never been a better time to sign up for Play Alberta. Download the app today to get started with casino, sports, and lottery all in one app. Must be 18 plus to play. When you gamble, use your game sense.
Made for some rough roads, but it means trails are now packed and ready for action. Don't miss out on riding adventures this winter with a Ski-Doo from Riverside Honda and Ski-Doo. Work or play with new 2026 Generation 5 models with class-leading design and power. And right now, take advantage of 5.99% financing OAC. Only at Riverside Honda and Ski-Doo. 15 Inglewood Drive in St. Albert. And always at riversidehonda.com. Shop local, shop Canadian.
McValue breakfast meals are $5 plus tax every day. Get a sausage McMuffin, bagel with cream cheese product, or breakfast burrito with hash brown and small coffee, all for just $5. Plus taxes. Available until 11 a.m. at Canadian restaurants. Product availability varies. Prices exclude delivery.
Well, get ready for a silly hockey fans. Your partner in power just skated onto the ice.
EWEL.ca, the new e-commerce website for electrical wholesalers Edmonton, is ready for the power play 24/7, 365.
UL skates to where the puck will be in 5 years. Now that's forward thinking.
Killer selection, slamming products from the best brands, and legendary service.
Don't sit on the bench. Get your account today at EWEL.ca and win that project.
Plug into your partner in power. Get an EWEL.ca account today.
Legacy Heating and Cooling is the #1 furnace replacement company for lovers. Because the best aphrodisiac is no payments and no interest for 1 year on your new furnace from Legacy. So forget about the oysters, baby. If you really want to check the heat, we can be a thermal couple, baby. Give me your sweet loving legacy. Heat things up with no payments and no interest for 1 year on your new furnace from Legacy Heating and Cooling.
Get ready to love your home, Canada. The Brick has the styles and the savings to make you fall head over heels. Save $1,100 on couches made for cuddling. Enjoy a romantic meal on a dining set up to 25% off. And yes, save 25% off in the bedroom, too. Plus, score up to $1,500 off the TV of your dreams. Love is in the air, and so are the savings. Only at The Brick. Some exclusions apply. Check out The Brick in South Common, West Edmonton Mall, North Side, and downtown.
Debt can take over your life. The stress, the constant worry, it can feel like you're drowning. When people come to see me, they're often anxious and feeling hopeless. But when I explain how I can help them get out of debt, those feelings melt away. I'm Parveen Middleton, licensed insolvency trustee at BDO here in Edmonton. I will create a personalized debt relief plan so you can move forward with confidence. Call 1-833-BDO-TALK or visit bdodebt.ca to discover your debt-free future.
This is Sports 1440, where Edmonton talks sports.
On YouTube, Facebook, and X.
Here's Jason Gregor.
Brought to you by PlayAlberta.ca.
We continue on Sports 1440, sports1440.ca, YouTube, Facebook, X, and Instagram. Hope you're having an awesome day. Of course, another medal for Canada at the Olympics, and the hockey tournament got going, which gets a lot of people a little bit more excited for sure. Although, hey, Kingsbury, the flag bearer, is going to go for a goal tomorrow. And that'll be maybe the first goal to get the ball rolling a little, kind of waiting. I know it's only been 4 days, but it seems like waiting a long time. Usually you don't have to wait this long to get the first one. So hopefully it happens quickly. Let's get to Around the NHL. Brought to you by McDonald's, and Frank's Red Hot is now on the menu, but only for a limited time on some of the best McDonald's. Get a little bit tastier, a little bit spicier with Frank's Red Hot. Try it now for a limited time, i.e. this month, only at McDonald's. And we are joined now by a former NHLer, of course, right here from Edmonton, played his minor hockey in Red Deer and then in the WHL in PA and Lethbridge. Went on to an NHL career with the Hurricanes, of course, now the team that he does analyst work for. Shane Willis joins us. Shane, welcome back to the show, man. How you doing?
I'm doing great, Jason. Great to be with you.
Hey, so I have to ask you, as the Olympics come on here, you've been in Carolina for a long time. Are you? Does your Canadian, are you wearing the red and white? How does that work for the Olympics? Is a little bit of chirping with all your Carolina friends, Canada, U.S.? How's that work?
I've been in North Carolina for 22 years now. My daughter's at college there. Everyone there I know are great friends with, but I still bleed red, and the red and white come out. My hat comes out. I will never turn away. I mean, people try and lay me there. You're American. I'm like, no, I'm not. I'm Canadian, and I'm cheering for Seth Jarvis and the rest of the Canadians to bring home a gold medal this week.
Oh, man. So you must have had some fun at the Four Nations last year. That would have been, especially after that opening game. That was an awesome game, really. And, if these two teams meet, it most likely would be in the final. And then, maybe Jarvis and Slavin would go at it. So Canes fans, they're probably mostly American. So I guess it'd be easy to cheer for Slavin. But looking at the Hurricanes, they've had a lot of injuries this year, including their best defenseman for a long time, and they've overcome them. Do you get a sense of maybe what they'd be looking for when we return here, and you got about a 10-day sprint to the trade deadline?
Yeah, I think not only do you look at the start of the year where their injuries were, but they faced adversity and they were able to overcome it. You look at different players that were forced into bigger roles as you were. Sean Walker was a huge piece on the back end when Jacob Slavin was out, but also the young players that you called up from Chicago. So you have that depth. But I go back to last year, and we know the playoffs are a different animal, and the Hurricanes lost two of their top six defensemen against the Florida Panthers. And to me, that was a huge part of why they weren't able to get past the Panthers last year, is missing those two players. It is very hard to force young rookies or young players into the playoffs to compete at that level. So I think when you look ahead, I think being able to add a depth player on defense and even on forward is something the Hurricanes are going to be looking at. But we hear from Eric Tulsky all the time, and he's on the phone every single week because they're always looking at different things to, does this make us a better team? He is constantly talking to GMs. I think every team around the league is doing this, and people just don't realize that there are phone calls every single week to say, hey, what do you guys got going on with this player? We think maybe we're interested. He can make us better. Even if he's a depth player, I think that's what the Hurricanes are looking at. When you sit atop the Metro Division and within points of first place in the East, you're looking at depth. You're not looking to do the blockbuster move where you're removing players. You're looking to add to benefit your roster. And I think teams that can make a move and use draft picks and young assets are at an advantage. And the Hurricanes have a lot of young talent in Chicago and playing over in Europe right now.
Yeah, so, they look at being able to move some of them out there. And, hey, I know they took a big swing last year with Rantanen and got him, and then it didn't work out, but no one can critique him. There's not really a Rantanen available. At least we don't think so. I assume Buffalo's going to keep Alex Tuck because they might actually make the playoffs for the first time in 15 years. So, do you see, I'm sure, you look around, do they need a left winger? Is it a center iceman? Is there an area, a position that they'd like to focus on, do you think?
I think the talk always around the Hurricanes is everyone's talking about, well, they need a number 2 centerman behind Sebastian Aho. But I'm in the camp of Rod Brind'Amour, where Logan Stankoven continues to develop. And you talk about the trade last year for Rantanen. But the key piece that came out of that, obviously, is Logan Stankoven. But the other piece that no one talks about enough is Taylor Hall. And what he's done right now, playing inside the top 6 with Stankoven and Jackson Blake, he's been a huge asset. And although that trade for Rantanen, the home run, didn't hit, the assets that you got back from moving him to Dallas has really solidified this team as a contender. So in my mind, I'm not looking so much at a number 2 centerman, but I'm looking at those depth players. Can you add a little bit of scoring maybe on your 4th line? But I've talked with Rod Brind'Amour and a lot of people around the organization. When you look at this team, I think the number one thing that comes out to me is grit and sandpaper. Like those quality depth players that know how to play in the playoffs. One guy that jumps out to mind is a Blake Coleman in Calgary. A player of that level that can play in your bottom 6, but knows how to win. He has a Stanley Cup, plays gritty, can play in those physical style games if you face a Florida Panthers team, and help push you past that. Those are the areas I'm focused on. Obviously, as an analyst, where I see things, management, if you're going to be able to add a goal scorer, a 20-goal scorer, I think you're going to do that. But those are the kind of depth players I think the organization is looking at, both on forward and defense, to add a little bit of grit, a little bit of size and physicality as you make a move to the playoffs.
In their division, is like they've started to kind of, no, runaway is probably a little bit of hyperbole, but they've created some space between themselves and Pittsburgh and the Islanders, 2 teams that I think have really surprised some people this year. When you look at that division, which one of those 2 surprises you more in the success they're having this year?
I think it's Pittsburgh, because I think everyone thought this was the end of the Sidney Crosby age and what Pittsburgh could get to, but he just continues to shine bright, as we all hope he does for Canada in the Olympics. I think they're a little bit more surprising me, because I think when you look at the Islanders, they've always had a great structure defensively. They have a great goaltender in Sorokin and what he's been able to do. But when I look at a team that where the Hurricanes would say, and they faced them a number of times over the last 3 years, as New York Islanders, adding a piece like Palat, which they did before the freeze, was a huge move, I think, for the Islanders. And I don't think they're done either, trying to, tweak different things in their roster. So if I'm the Hurricanes looking at the Metro, and I said this the other day, I think just the top 3 teams of the Metro get in. I think the Atlantic is a lot stronger this year compared to the bottom of the Metro. But I would, as the Hurricanes, if you look at a threat, I think the Islanders are a bigger threat than Pittsburgh, but Pittsburgh is definitely the bigger surprise in my mind to where they started the year. And obviously making those trades, you bring in Stuart Skinner, and everyone thought, wow, they're mailing it in. This guy's been the hottest goaltender since he arrived in Pittsburgh and helping them win hockey games. So Pittsburgh's my surprise. I think the Islanders are a bigger threat.
And I think that's totally fair, mainly because of Sorokin and net, because he's been unreal. And you get into a playoff series, and you would know, you played that, you get a hot goalie in a series, man, and he can get in the heads of the shooters pretty quickly.
Without a doubt. I mean, he has stolen games to them time after time to help them be in the position they are. And then obviously we can't overlook the young stud on defense for the New York Islanders and what he's been able to do in his rookie season. Not only scoring and putting up big points, but game-winning goals and dynamic in overtime in those situations. The Islanders are moving in the right direction, and that's why I think they're a big threat.
When you look at the goaltending, Brandon Bussi has had a great stretch there in Carolina. His numbers have come back down to earth a little bit as of late after his red hot start. And, he's still kind of been holding out. I think he started 5 of the last 6 games going into the break. And Freddie Anderson is still around. Kochetkov, they're not expecting him back for the playoffs, correct?
I don't think so. I think after the break, they're going to take a long look at it. He did have the procedure done on his hip. He's been rehabbing. He has not been on the ice yet, so I'm not sure if playoffs is even a potential or in the thought process. But Brandon Bussi, what a great story. I mean, to burst onto the scene as he has done here in Carolina. And I look at his game, and number one, I give credit where credit is due. This young man has the demeanor, he has the mindset, he has the skill to be a very, very good goaltender. But you also have to look at, and I've said this on many broadcasts, and goalies around the National Hockey League, they have to look at Carolina and be like, if I'm a free agent, can I sign there and only face 15 shots a night? Because the defensive structure and the pressure that the Hurricanes put on, they nullify shots. They take away shots constantly with the way they pressure, the way they fill lanes, tipping pucks, blocking shots. But Brandon Bussi, again, his talent is where it needs to be. The story will continue after the break, I truly believe, because of how this team plays in front of him. And he has a very legitimate shot to be the number one guy as you go into playoffs and carry the load for the Hurricanes.
Shane Willis joins us. We are talking Carolina Hurricanes. So Kochekov's there. Bussi's story's been great. Freddie Anderson has come back now. I noticed he hasn't played any back-to-back or consecutive starts since returning. And I think his last time he played consecutive games was back in November. And we know that when Anderson's on, he's good. His challenge has been staying healthy at the key time. Do you think when it's all said and done, Anderson might be the guy in the playoffs again for the Hurricanes? Or do you think that Carolina might say, you know what, we're just going to rotate our goalies in the playoffs a little bit, or be like a 2-1 ratio?
I'm definitely not counting out Freddie Anderson, because where this team sits has to go back to a lot of the start of the season where Freddie Anderson carried the load. And he came out of training camp saying, this is the best I've ever felt coming out of training camp, health-wise. And you could see it in his game. Now, have things faltered a little bit? Yes, but it's not because of his health. He continues to remain healthy. Freddie Anderson in the playoffs last year, until they got to Florida, was the best statistically categoried goalie in the NHL in the playoffs. So he has that ability. He continues to have the size and strength. And again, when the team is playing strong in front of him, you see Freddie Anderson get win after win. As you and I know, when goaltenders get hot, a guy like Brandon Bussi, the team plays with a ton of confidence in front of him. Right now, when Freddie Anderson is in the pipes, games are closer, and it seems like the Hurricanes are playing tighter. And I don't think they have that ultimate confidence that they do with a Brandon Bussi who's on the role that he's on. Obviously, it's easy to have that as a player. But Freddie Anderson definitely has the ability, because we've seen it over the years, to jump in between the pipes in the playoffs and carry the load. So I'm not counting him out. It'll be an interesting decision when we get there through the sprint of March and April. And as every team wants, they want every guy to be healthy. So it makes those decisions hard on a head coach. But ultimately, the Hurricanes are in a very, very good situation with Bussi, with Anderson, or if Kochekov's in the mix, you have a 1-2-3 punch that if something goes wrong, you can go to any one of those players and win games in the playoffs.
Looking at the forward group, how's Nikolai Ehlers fit in?
The craziest switch probably I've seen, and I'm sure a lot of people around the league, when Rod Brind'Amour shook his lines up, and I talked about Taylor Hall a minute ago getting pushed up to play with Stankov and Jackson Blake in the top six. And all of a sudden, Nikolai Ehlers gets put with Jordan Staal and Jordan Martinook, and everyone's thinking, why is Nikolai Ehlers on that line? But it has absolutely worked since Rod Brind'Amour has made the move. And Tripp Tracy, my fellow analyst for the Hurricanes, was talking on a broadcast one day that he talked with Paul Stastny during the summertime, and he was talking about Nikolai Ehlers, the way he plays, and where do you think he should play? And Stastny, a great hockey mind, says, you know what? He would play really, really good with Staal and Martinook. And Tripp Tracy said, what are you talking about? And he goes, they just play a very simple game. They'll open up space for Nikolai Ehlers, who loves to hold on to pucks. And it has worked since being there. Nikolai Ehlers started on the top line with Aho, had some production. Things went a little bit cold. He moved him with Blake and Stankoven. Then they took off and were on a heater. And now as lines go, they get cold. He switched them there. So Nikolai Ehlers has been in all three of the top lines and been able to produce. Where does that stay? We don't know. But if the lines keep rolling like they do, he'll stay with Staal and Martinook. And they've been dynamic. He's helped take Jordan Staal back to when he was 25 years old, chasing 25, 30 goals again. So Nikolai Ehlers has been dynamic. I think it was a slower start than he wanted. But the way he manages the puck, he can play with any one of those top lines and produce. He's been a tremendous asset and really showing why he was the most valuable asset in free agency this summer.
So are you telling me, so Brind'Amour, he's always looking and tinkering different lines. And I'm saying this somewhat facetiously because there's some people in Edmonton that think the coach, that good teams never change their lines. I'm like, coaches change their lines all the time, right? And Rod Brind'Amour, Carolina plays a certain way, and he's not afraid to move guys around, from four, all of his lines.
He has, and along with Jeff Daniels, because he gives a lot of credit to his assistant coach, Jeff Daniels, when they watch the forward lines. They have a tremendous feel with when players are going and when to just tweak. They don't tweak, all three guys. It's usually one of the players leaving two together. And I can tell you, as a former player, it is that little spark. You come in a locker room and be like, oh, I'm on a different line. It gives you a little bit of that juice one day, and you roll, and you kind of ride the wave as long as you can. Are they going to go cold? Yes, at some point. And the only time you make a move is when the other 2 or 3 lines go cold. Then you shift things around. But if 2 lines are hot and that one's cold, you kind of just wait for them to come back. But Rod and Jeff Daniels have such a great feel in game and on their off days to kind of look at guys and get a feel of what they're seeing and then making a small little tweak. And I mean, every time they make it, that's what makes great coaches. When they make it, they do it at the right time and it ignites the team in the right direction.
Yeah, wow. It's just a good thing because I think sometimes people think, oh, it's only Knobloch who changes his lines. And I'm like, no.
No, every coach is trying to find the magic touch.
Yes.
And again, they'll say, well, we didn't really do much. But it's a matter of making the move at the right time, and then it just hits. It's like lightning in a bottle. Guys catch chemistry and get rolling, and coaches have to do it. You can never stay – it's like being with the same 3 guys in the same room for, 200 days in a row.
Yes.
You get stale. You get old. You got to switch it up. Have a little bit more fun, and it works for a while. Eventually it comes back around. But Rod and all the coaches are always trying to look for that. And again, they may not change the whole line. It's just one player, a little interchange that kind of gets them going in the right direction.
Yeah. Shane, great stuff, man. We appreciate it. Enjoy the Olympics. Enjoy the fun trash talk with your American friends, and get back to work here in a few weeks.
I appreciate it. The trash talk definitely is easier when the Canadians win.
Very true. Well, it should be good this year. Very good feeling. Canada's going to win again. So hopefully it happens.
I appreciate it.
Awesome.
All right, Jason. Appreciate it, man.
There you go. Have a good one. We'll take a quick break, come back, wrap things up. It's the Gregor Show presented by PlayAlberta.ca.
Roses are red. Violets are blue. A pizza my heart will certainly do. Nothing says I love you quite like a Papa John's pizza. This Valentine's week, enjoy a special Pizza My Heart thin crust pizza from Papa John's for only $17.99. Check it out at papajohns.ca or on the Papa John's app. We don't want to break your heart, so the pizza arrives uncut. Available for a limited time only. Better ingredients, better pizza. Papa John's.
The longest running basketball show in Canada airs every Saturday morning at 10 on Sports 1440. Hoop City with Paul Sir introduces a new generation of basketball talk, and it's right here on Edmonton's home for sports, Sports 1440. The place to cheer for Canada loud and proud is Sally's Sports Bar and Lounge. The ultimate sports bar to watch the ultimate winter events. Not a bad seat in the house, tons of big screens, and a first place menu with something for everyone. Small bites, big bites, game night food and drink features. Cheer on Canada's team at Sally's at all 3 Century Casino locations, Edmonton, St. Albert, and Century Mile.
Every day is game day at Century Casino.
5-time Junior Hockey League champions, the Spruce Grove Saints, are excited to be back on the ice at the brand new Thompson Family Arena. Be part of the action and enjoy some of the best Junior Hockey Canada has to offer by experiencing a Saints game for your next outing. Tickets range from $10 to $17 with free parking and some of the best food and drink specials in town. For more information on tickets and how you can become a partner, go to sgsaints.ca.
Considering an EV, Subaru is the right choice. Discover their latest electric vehicle innovations, starting with the brand new Solterra, in stock and ready to test drive. Or the Trail Seeker, an EV at its core, a Subaru at heart, and built for adventure. Or the Uncharted This Sporty, all-new small compact SUV brings new levels of driving enjoyment to the all-electric space. Right now, Subaru is offering interest rates as low as 0.49%. Welcome to electric. Welcome to Subaru.
Portions of this hour brought to you by Cantork, made in Canada, made for Canada, where extreme isn't theoretical. Find your solution at cantork.com.
The Jason Gregor Show, the best of Edmonton sports talk and beyond. This is Sports 1440.
Presented by PlayAlberta.ca, Alberta's only regulated online gambling website.
Final countdown, boys and girls. You're close if you've been waiting. You only have 15 hours, just under, till Canada takes on Czechia in hockey. But a big day tomorrow. Lots of potential opportunities to get on the podium tomorrow for Canadians. So looking forward to it. And from, of course, you got the flag bearer. Very good opportunity for us. You have now coming up later on, Lauren Dubrel in the 500 meter for long track speed skating. That's another one that I think Canada has a very good chance to get a medal in. Snowboarding tomorrow, the men's moguls, of course, short track speed skating. We got a lot of opportunities tomorrow, and hopefully we'll get it. Should be good. So we'll see. The one thing I'm like, it's amazing the things that people get upset about, right? Oh, the hockey team's not staying they're staying in a hotel. I'm like, yeah, you mean like they had in previous years? What the hell are you talking about? Why is this a big deal? That's what they want to do, so they're doing it. Right? I don't really think it matters that much. Like, you want to stay in the village, you can stay in the village. You still have a room there, funny enough, but doesn't matter. So it's just like, Knobloch change. No one else changes lines as much as Knobloch. And then they're like, Rod Brind'Amour's an unreal coach. And then Shane Willis comes on. Yeah, he switches his lines up all the time. What? I thought Knobloch's an idiot for doing it, but Rod Brind'Amour's a genius. Can't really be both, can it? So you're as a coach, you're always looking. And I like what Shane Willis said, just even as a player, like you get used to playing with guys, but sometimes it's nice and fresh. Hey, now I'm playing with Bobby. Oh, I'm playing with Jim. It's a nice little change in a long season sometimes, just to get a little bit of jump. Feel like maybe someone's going to help you. Maybe you've been in funk, or maybe you're rolling. You're like, hey, man, come with us and join the ride, and we'll help you out. So I don't worry about it too much at all. Tomorrow, we got a lot of hockey. We got some football talk. Curling. Big shot by our buddy Mark Kennedy in the eighth end of that game, in the ninth end if you were watching it. And they ended up winning in extras today for Team Canada, the men's curling side. So we got lots more curling, snowboarding, skiing. Enjoy it. Have fun tonight. We will chat with you tomorrow. We have Connor Halley, Declan Kruger. I'm Jason Gregor. If you missed any part of the show, you can rewatch the whole thing on YouTube. Download the podcast anywhere you get podcasts or individual interviews at jasongregor.com. Landon Ferraro, Paul Sir, Tyler Yaremchuk, Spec, Shane Willis, and of course, an hour with Ritch Winter. Some really good stuff. If you want to learn about the recruitment process, arbitration, and more, check it out. Let's get to the Con Man Sports 1440 update, brought to you by Legacy Heating and Cooling, where the rates never change, no overtime charges. That's how you build a legacy at legacyheating.ca. Good night.
This is the Sports 1440 update.
Over the Winter Games, Canada picking up their fourth medal. Figure skaters Piper Gillis and Paul Poirier capturing the bronze medal in the ice dance. Brad Jacobs on the curling rink picking up the 7-6 win over Germany in their round-robin opener. Rachel Homan's rink getting going tomorrow morning against Denmark. For the men's ice hockey, Slovakia surprising Finland 4-1. And despite a great effort from the Italians, Sweden victorious, winning 5-1. Canada gets going 8:40 a.m. tomorrow, taking on the Czechs here in the city. The Oil Kings hosting Everett. Puck drop 7 o'clock at Rogers Place. And in the BCHL, Crusaders in action, hosting the Brooks Bandits in the association. Raptors trail the Pistons 20-10 in the first quarter. Elsewhere, you got the Magic up on the Bucks 45-43. Wizards trail the Cavs 49-39 in the second. And the Hawks behind the Hornets 48-35. Later on tonight, out west, Warriors will host the Spurs. You've also got the Thunder taking on the Suns, and the Nuggets hosting the Grizz. Coming up next year on Sports 1440, it is Fox Sports Radio all night long. Live local coverage resumes tomorrow morning, 7 a.m. with Kevin Carius here on Sports 1440. Streaming on YouTube at Sports 1440 a.m. I'm Connor Halley. This has been a Sports 1440 update.
Sports 1440, a Stingray radio station broadcasting on Treaty 6 territory.
Download the free iHeartRadio app and listen to